capitalism, all of the gains in automation, it goes to the owner class. All you have to do is have everyone be an owner, and now suddenly any gain in automation is a gain for everybody. If you grow just one thing, it may not grow as well as if it grows with another thing. A good example of that is called the Three Sisters method of farming.
There is definitely multi-apartment buildings or multi-families that do passive design.
$100 million that they gave to Joe Rogan that they would kind of be out if they breach contract. Is that a bigger number? Or is 2 billion a bigger number?
I don't know, Zach.
It's a tough one. I
It's
know.
really hard.
And maybe comparing numbers is not Jeremy's strong suit. Gotta go kill a Jenny.
I still don't think you should kill her. I don't think it's a good idea.
It's a ghost, dude. Welcome back, everybody, to Bread Theory. So tonight we're gonna have more of a casual stream. It's another Sunday Funday with Dan Plaat of the Three Left Show. How you doing tonight, Dan?
Just peachy.
Peachy.
I'm sharing the link for the screen now, so I'm just gonna be
Okay. Cool.
distracted by doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Streaming for.
All right. Well, he's doing that. I'll give a shout out to Left Signal Boost TV, which Bread Theory is a part of. Lots of great streamers and content creators, including Dan Platt himself, the Three Left Show.
Here's to getting our shit together enough that we'll have the content worthy of being on Means TV.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Dan's brought a few videos tonight. Did you want to start with the Just for Laughs one there? The Nisha Kumar?
Why don't we start with the follow-up to Jordan Peterson in Command and Conquer? And
Okay.
If you're curious, yeah, never mind.
Which one is
it? Which one is it?
That? Yeah.
Unfortunately, you have to. It'll be the second from the bottom, I think.
Second from the bottom. Okay, let's see if this is the one. Oh yeah, it looks like it is. All right. We'll bring that up then. Incoming transmission.
It's a little pick me up.
Something you should be aware of. General Carville has stationed a truck near one of our villages. He has broadcasting capitalist propaganda in an attempt to turn our own people against us. Our base is under attack. Incoming transmission.
The culture war in the West is real. And culture,
What?
culture war is now truly part of why we have a war. And it's a real war.
What?
Yeah. Let's go.
Wow. Culture war is a real war, and culture is losing. Who was culture fighting against?
Economics.
What? Economics? Okay.
Well, no. Liberal culture, I guess, versus authoritarian culture. He would probably elaborate.
It's just the way he phrased it. He's like,
oh yeah, it's nuts. That's what's great about it. And the Red Alert series is I mean, mostly the third one actually, the one that you saw the clip of George Takei. There's also SCCS. Oh, what's his name? The guy who plays Jonah Jameson in the first Spider-Man.
oh, okay.
So he's the president.
Yeah.
And they all basically
president. Yeah.
It's like they actually cast these A-listers as like the leaders, and they're all kind of giggling at their lines. It's just it's great. Tim Curry is awesome. Super villain.
Yeah, I remember that Tim Curry one from last time.
It's
that was
great. So if you're curious, and maybe if we really have time, which we usually don't, but we can watch the opening cutscene to Command Red Alert 3. But last time we had a brief conversation about stand-up comedy. And I said, I proposed I would look into it and see what I could dig up. And for as far as leftist stand-up comedians, and
Right.
You type in left wing and stand up comedy, and you get a lot of bullshit. You get a lot of Crowder. You get a lot of videos about why do leftists hate stand up comedy and so on. Well, but amongst all of that, if you scroll down long enough, you eventually get to what you really wanted, and this is what I found. So there's 5 of them, I think.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Oh no, there must be more. Oh no, the first 2 are in your Facebook Messenger. So
Oh, okay.
that.
Oh, so you want to start with the Facebook ones?
They're in no particular order.
No particular order?
No
Okay.
particular order whatsoever.
Cool. Well, we'll start with the Just for Laughs one then.
Hello, Wolf Skeptic.
Hey, Wolf
Welcome,
Skeptic. How's it
welcome in.
going?
I guess you're first. Don't forget to type in first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we know.
So everyone's aware. All right. Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you. How are you? All right? My mother criticised my comedy recently. She said, Nish, there's a problem with your comedy. I said, what is the problem? She said, well, you're a left-wing comedian. I said, why is that a problem? She said, well, all comedians are left-wing. It's boring. Now, here's the thing, guys. I have no idea if all comedians are left-wing or not. I've not done the research. But I have a theory. I think it is hard to write right-wing comedy. And I know because I've been trying, okay? This is the best I could come up with for right-wing comedy. Hey, don't you hate it when you start earning over $100,000 a year and you move up an income tax bracket? It doesn't work, except for the people in the better seats who are just looking at me like, yeah, Nish, that is hard. Thank you
I feel seen.
for acknowledging our struggle. But I don't think there's a problem. I think all that's going on is stand-up comedy is an art form wherein it's easier to express left-wing political beliefs. But if you look over the entire cultural spectrum, it balances itself out. There's as much stuff that's inherently left-wing as there is inherently right-wing. Because I would argue, as much as no one wants to see a right-wing comedian, even fewer people wants to see a left-wing action film. Like, I am left-wing and I love action films, but I have no desire to watch a left-wing action film because that would be the most boring film of all time. I got no interest in watching the Avengers apply to the UN Security Council. But I think it's great. Culture finds a way of balancing itself out. Left-wing people have some stuff, right-wing people have some stuff. Left-wing people have comedy and folk music. Right-wing people have action movies and board games. Because when I was growing up, the board game I played most often, I can't believe we allow children to play this game. I'm talking, of course, about Monopoly. I cannot believe Monopoly is a game. First of all, it's called Monopoly. Now, that is a financial crime. We have governmental bodies designed to prevent. There's no games named after other financial crimes. There's no embezzlement ball or, hey,
Maybe
kids, build your own Lego Ponzi
Yeah,
scheme. Right. People are worried about Grand Theft Auto. Monopoly reinforces the idea that a right-wing way of running your economy is the right way to do so. Because all the public works, the electric company, the train station, you can just buy them. And then the more of them you own, the more money you make. What happens if you go to jail? Nothing, as long as you can afford to bribe your way out.
True enough.
And here's the thing. I know that board games give children messed up messages. I know about that. I know. Battleships is basically teaching children the best way to fight awards when you can't see where you're shooting. Snakes and Ladders encourages animal cruelty. And chess, when you think about it, is just a way of encouraging slow, tactical racism. But so lovely to be here. Like, I love traveling around. It's really fun. Like, I went to do some gigs in Australia earlier this year, and the gigs were good, which is good because I didn't think they were going to be. Because before I went to Australia, there was an incident. Now, when you come and do festivals like this, they don't have time to interview all the comedians because there's too many of us, so they'll just send out Q&As, and these are all boring questions like, where are you from, who are your favourite comedians, blah, blah, blah. And they'll personalise one question per Q&A for each comedian. You'll know it's for you because it'll be in a different font. It's clearly been inserted into an existing document, right? And I read the whole thing, and I get down to a question that's been personalised for me, and I'm excited to fill out the Q&A. I'm getting to go to Australia, and I get to a question that they've personalised for me. And the question that these people had personalised for me was, how come Christians are allowed to draw pictures of their prophets and Muslims aren't?
Wow.
To which the obvious answer is, I don't know. My parents are Hindus. I've got no idea why they would think I would know. Now, one of two things has happened here. Either these people have just seen that I've got a foreign name and just thought, must be a Muzzer, definite Muzzer, Nish Kumar is a classic Muzzer name, or they think we have non-white people meetings where we assemble, set the non-white agenda for the year, and then retire to a screening room where we watch a DVD of Boys in the
I've kind of
Hood.
heard a joke before. You know, the council of non-white people making decisions.
Council of non-whites.
Yeah. Making decisions for the minority agenda.
That's funny.
Which then it gets extrapolated into the what is it, the race draft pick of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, from Chappelle.
Yeah.
That was one of his best. Yeah, that was pretty good. Who was it? The Chinese took the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, the entire Wu-Tang Clan.
The entire Wu-Tang.
Because like the whole joke is, I guess, they get one person each. But it's like, we're taking the whole Wu-Tang Clan. And then the swap of like, okay, you can have Colin Powell, but you also have to take Condoleezza Rice.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's like, but Colin Powell. Oh yeah, because like they could take people who are like half of one, so that they can. That's the concept of the joke. That's like if someone's half and half, they could be all Chinese or Asian or something.
Yeah.
And because there's an Asian delegation, not a Chinese delegation. But it's like,
sure.
It's like, oh, we're taking white delegation nominates Colin Powell, and like the commentators are like, but Colin Powell isn't even any kind of like white. He's all black. It's like, and black is like, we've convened, and you can have Colin Powell, but you also have to take Condoleezza Rice. Bush era.
Yeah, I don't
Bush
know.
era.
Yeah, that was good.
No, I shared on
Good
Facebook.
stuff,
Totally segue, but I shared on Facebook Todd in the Shadow's latest one-hit wonderland, where he covers the Macarena.
Oh.
And it's a really fun video because it's one of those videos where it's like, when is he going to do the Macarena? When is he going to do the Macarena? And he finally did. It's worth it. And he has a montage, two montages for the most part, but one at the end of just crazy, insane people, like clips of the Macarena, because it was really everywhere, including
it certainly was
some meeting at the UN where Colin Powell is like, or on the campaign trail, and he's trying to do the Macarena and not.
Oh no. How do you mess up the Macarena?
And there's also a clip of like a UN meeting, and Madeleine Albright is doing the Macarena with the General Secretary. And
of course.
It was done at the DNC, so there's lots of like Democrats doing it at the same time, including Clinton's, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was everywhere. And truly, I do remember the whole, like, it's everywhere, and I, just a kid along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of glad that I don't even see it at weddings, but it is a catchy tune
somehow
when you think about it.
Burnt out.
But it was a long. He points his videos a slow crawl up, that it was already a hit in all the Latin countries. For the previous 2 years, but then it gets and it's on in the dance clubs. It's very popular. And in fact, like a whole year before peak Macarena, he calls it, somebody was like complaining, like, oh, I've been hearing Macarena for 6 months. It's like Texas. It's like, after the song.
Yeah. Oh, I was too.
And but this was 6 months before '96, and it actually goes mainstream.
Oh,
and but it went mainstream because you had a group that put on the vocals, because it didn't have vocals before. It was an Spanish song, because it was just the two Spanish men,
2 guys, yeah,
and that you see with the microphone, who aren't actually dancing the Macarena because they actually don't dance, but they are singers from the Seville area, and they're basically hometown heroes, and it's truly a great legacy, because any popular kind of everyone doing dance, on TikTok or whatever, it can all be traced back to the Macarena.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely the TikTok dance craze. Yeah.
You had dance crazes before, but they were, mashed potato or the twist. but they weren't everywhere.
Nothing quite that viral, no.
Because you have mass media now in a way that didn't exist back then. Okay, let's continue. Sorry for this sidetrack.
Hey, yeah, no problem. It's good stuff.
So I didn't know what to put because I didn't want to, it's a controversial subject. I didn't want to upset anybody. So I just put, I don't know, but it wasn't enough. I wanted them to know that an infraction had taken place. But there wasn't really much scope for theological discussion until the last question, because the last question was not a question. It was a task. They had given us the first half of a joke, and we had to supply the second half. And the first half of the joke was this. A book walks into a bar and sees a bookcase. And you can finish that joke any way you want. This is how I chose to finish it. A book walks into a bar and sees a bookcase. The book says, "Hey, bookcase, how come Christians are allowed to draw pictures of their prophets and Muslims aren't?" And the bookcase said, "I don't know, because I am a bookcase, and as such have no knowledge of the intricacies of Islamic theology. I assume you're asking me because I'm a brown bookcase? In which case, get lost." Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. It is a privilege.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So yeah, so this is an example of left-wing comedy, huh? Seem more like a liberal, but
that's the more tame,
yeah.
exactly. But the fact that his mother considers him left-wing, and then it's like the general tenor of like, well, if you're punching down, that makes you left-wing. So any kind of stand-up where it isn't punching down, then that must be left-wing comedy, or it gets put in that, and so then it becomes a complaint of dominated by one side, and there's no balance. There's no room for right-wing comedians who punch down.
Yeah, because they punch down. Those are like the hackiest jokes you can possibly do, and they just end up getting boring after the first time you say them.
Unless you're that niche audience of the privileged. In which case, it's hilarious to make fun of people who are lesser off, and because as an essay in this humor rhetoric book I'm reading, light bulb jokes. It's like the light bulb joke was like white males who are threatened by change and how the world them making Polak jokes or bureaucracy jokes or jokes about techies or other types of elites and so on, and minorities. Or like, how many does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Yeah.
The answer, one, to the socket has been violated, the other to wish they were the socket. You laughed. You just lost bodily autonomy.
I did. Yep. Here comes the canceling. Oh god.
But it works on some level, I suppose, which all right-wing comedy can. But of course, you can be in a mindset where, like, what's coming, what they're going to say. So there's no surprise. There's no release of stress or tension, which comedy requires, or what makes something. Whether you ask Freud or more recent philosophers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why people like Steven Crowder, they just repeat the same few jokes again and again. The audience knows what's coming, but like once he's off the air, off of YouTube, people are gonna forget him, just like they did Rush Limbaugh, because he was the same way.
Like the Dice Man.
Yeah, like Dice Man as well. Yeah, you make your same jokes, you go a few times, and then once your time is done, that's it. Because you just move on to the next guy who's gonna dispense the.
It's like humor in grade school.
Yeah, basically.
Very, very mimetic and burns out just as quickly. It's interesting that, Dice. He was in my book of pop culture about villains, and how he was coming in and he was popular because there's this coming of politically incorrect, not just culture but hegemony, I suppose. That you're not going to make sexist or racist. We're actually going to try to get it out of mainstream culture. We're taking it out because we're a more inclusive society, or at least, as things have changed because of the civil rights movement. shifting over to cultural space and leftists switching to cultural space. Because it wasn't a universal, but it was a mostly, well, since we can't really affect the economic side, it is so heavily dominated by capital, and labor is only getting weaker. We have to shift to, or we will shift culture, because we have to change people's minds first before we can take action collectively.
Right.
But how many generations do you have to do that? How many generations should it take? And all the while, we've lost the capacity to take collective action. So even if we all have the mindset of anti-capitalism, we still need another generation to build up the means of taking collective action, which were lost post-70s, when the shift to culture began. But this is also when labor got devolved, and did I mention? Yeah, I mentioned this the last stream. So let's go on to the next one.
Yeah,
Still
sure.
got 4 more.
Cool. Yeah, let's pull up the
One of
next
them's longer, because it's the full set, but we can stop like 5 minutes in or so.
Sure.
Just to get a taste of them.
No problem.
I'm walking around this city
Oh,
where
you
you're
wanna
like,
start at
how
the beginning?
deep is that?
Oh, I don't know why it started there.
Because I copied the link at that
Please
point.
welcome to the stage the
Gotcha.
very funny James Tyson. Give it up for Tristan, everybody.
Oh, he looks so much like Dave Foley.
What a stupid time to be alive. Jesus Christ. You know that you've lived through hard times when "how are you" becomes a rude question. How are you? How dare you? The past 2 years have aged me horribly. I'm 13 years old. I look terrible. I know I need to write more but last time I tried to write anything, all I could get out was nobody listens anymore. Nobody's nice. And that was just my grocery list. I think I'm depressed. Meanwhile, I know I'm broke. Does anyone know the answer? But I applaud if you're broke. I love hearing noise. When I ask that question. I'm so tired. I do perform a lot on the Upper West Side. I'm so tired of asking this question of New York audiences and just hearing silence. Like, just a bunch of rich New Yorkers staring back at me like, broke? How do you say it? I didn't realize he was ethnic. Dumbasses. Now, wait, no, people say you're broke, but I've learned in New York too, people say that and they do not know what that means. So now, we're gonna dig a little deeper. Applaud if you worry about money. Right? That's like everybody, right? Now applaud if you are living paycheck to paycheck. Alright, that's almost the same amount, but I saw some people not laughing, right? Because it is different, right? You know, worrying about money is you ran out of disposable income for the month. So you had to dip into some savings to pay some bills. Oh, living paycheck to paycheck is you ran out of toilet paper for the week. So you gotta dip into some McDonald's napkins from 2017 to wipe some butts. Your different lives. I wish I had the anxieties that rich people get to have, right? They seem nice. You know? I'm one rolled ankle away from homelessness, right? That's paycheck to paycheck. Rich people get to walk around this city worried about things like, how low is the stock market? I'm walking around this city worried like, how deep is that puddle? I gotta go around, I got bills to pay. Not today, puddle! I'm so depressed. Are you happy? Good. It's so funny. I love Queens, and everyone's broke, everyone's unhappy, no one misses a beat. So many parts of this city, I'm like, are you unhappy? And they're like, what? Why? Why would I be? What? Yeah, so I can't even read the news anymore, right? Can you read? No, right? And not because it's depressing, but because it's behind a paywall. I'm too broke. Why does the news on the internet
that was
cost
good.
money? Why? Okay, so can I talk about this for just a minute? Yeah, but I mean I'm gonna talk about it. 5 minutes, but the consent is theatrical, you know. But why does the news on the internet cost money? I am 35 years old. You don't look it. What? Who said that? Thank you. I'm in the middle of my set, if you could be quiet.
gotta make
my
up
point
his own
is, I'm
accolades.
officially old enough to say, it didn't used to be this way. News on the internet used to be free. Gather round, children. In fact, when they gave the internet to us idiots in the 90s, the whole point of it was access to information. And now every time I want to access information, I go to click on an article, and the Washington Post is like, this is a sticker, see? Enter in your credit card information, click on the picture of bicycles, and nobody gets hurt. And I don't know what they're doing with that money, but I know that they are not spending it on building better websites. You know, right? No, every time you try to open a news article, nothing loads. You're drowning in ads. Where are they hosting these things? GeoCities?
That's an old joke.
Everyone in their 20s is
Don't be
silent.
out there.
Every time I Oh, God. And you know, look, the point of this joke and this bit is not to be like, you know, I'm so smart. Because, like, even if news was free, I don't know that I would read it. And that's not the point. I can acknowledge that this is bad, big picture, right? Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't pay journalists, but they've got to figure out something for this, like, new terrible world we live in. Because what's happening right now is you have the New York Times limiting us to 5 free articles a month. Meanwhile, they're writing editorial after editorial about the disinformation crisis and how did disinformation get so out of hand? Well, for starters, disinformation is free. Thank you. Free, and it's everywhere.
Can you stop
okay? I know that we New Yorkers love to act.
So that last minute was like only 10% joke via funny voice.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of
Yeah.
line, but mostly like doing a bit out of some more news or
Sure.
so on. Like that's the kind of like if I was writing stand up, like which I'm sort of leaning towards.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's a side project. It's literally like when I think of something, I'll jot it down. But
Nice.
I want to avoid bits where it's a minute of explaining for just going into funny voice at the end of the explanation of something, which is sort of like how I could write a paragraph. But I'm like, no, there actually needs, just the standard setup and punchline or something of that nature, which I'm thinking hard about. But can we move on to the next one? Unless you're really liking.
Sure.
I
I was enjoying that. That was a lot more relatable. Definitely the punching up stands.
Post the
I should, yeah.
Post the link.
to it. What's the name of this comedian? James Tyson. All right, put that in the old chat.
Now I have also saved an hour-long event of a May Day stand-up event, or it's a May Day event with an hour stand-up. So that would probably be, where it can really get a good sampling of things. And, local scenes, you'll probably have someone like Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to a local stand-up, it was like 80% just standard cishet white guys just like trying to get over their depression by speaking in public to others like them. And mostly just trying to be edgy, and I didn't find any of it funny because half of their humor had to be self-deprecating, and I want empowerment, I want wholesomeness. Now this was I'm not sure if this is I think I did this as an example of like, oh, this isn't a right winger, but maybe this is, but it's. Oh no, I did. I think I did watch this. I think it's okay, but again, this is most of what like came up when I put in left wing comedy.
Sure.
It's like, oh, offended, and or that's what
Jokes
you get.
are woke and offended.
So let's yeah.
All right, yeah, let's take a look.
And Bollywood star's first comedy special was filmed in New York and New Delhi, but curiously, not in any of New York's delis. Please welcome Veer Das.
Thanks, Mr.
Yeah, right. Added so much there.
And again, it's another review.
Okay, Namaste Montreal. We feeling good, yeah? My name is Veer Das. I am from Mumbai in India. Do you guys know India, yes? It's where all the Canadians come from. I should clarify, I'm not of Indian origin. I'm not an immigrant. I'm actually just from India. You know, all the local Indians that you meet over here, I'm the reason they left. It is good to be here in the West. I apologize, but that's what we call you in India, the West. To us, this continent is, how do I put this? Americans and Canadians to us are kind of like Indians and Pakistanis. You know?
Not sure where he's going with that.
Keep your panties on, relax, wait. You're very similar people with very different life expectancies.
That's true.
But there are subtle differences. For instance, Americans have basketball, you have basketball. Americans have beer, you have beer. And yet, when I was crossing the border into Canada, no cages. Not one cage.
Lot of like, you know, it's a big house. And there's like, everyone's pausing before like,
everyone's like,
am I
oh,
enjoying
shit, what's
this?
he gonna do with this one?
I have to think about this. You know, so that's kind of why it has the title it does, I guess, because it's like he's turning it around and making the jokes about Americans.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
you know?
It's not a bad set so far.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I realize that that joke is dark and uncomfortable, but in my defense, so are the cages. I mean, Montreal might be the most comfortable immigration experience I've ever had. There was no paperwork, no questions. The guy just gave me a kiss on my cheek. He was like, that's it. He was just like, welcome home. I was like, but I'm just visiting. He's like, that is what they all say. I apologize. Is that accent offensive? The thing is, I don't know. I live in India. We don't know. Getting offended is something privileged people do. And we just got privilege last week. It's very exciting. Now in the West, you've had privilege for years. You've taking offense to another level. Like Americans can get offended on other people's behalf. It's a very American thing. I'm offended for you. What you went through is so stressful. I'm gonna take the day off. But you're very proactive. You're all about justice. You see something wrong on the streets, you take your phone out and you film it. What you're doing, sir, is wrong. You're gonna go viral. There are gonna be consequences. Every time an American films a hate crime, in the background you can see an Indian just walking to work. I didn't see anything. I don't have my green card yet. But in the West, you're very, what's the word? Woke. That's a word I learned, woke. That's the reason I travel, to learn new words. It's not to expand my audience. I'm Indian. My audience is expanding as we speak right now. I asked a college kid, I'm like, what does it mean to be woke? She was like, to be woke means to realize, to recognize, to organize, and then to vocalize. That describes everything from a book club to a Nazi rally, all right? I want to be one of these comedians who can write woke jokes for woke people. I've tried. Do you want to hear them, yeah? Knock, knock. Well, if you need to hear the sound of somebody's voice before you let them into your apartment, what does that say about your elitist privilege, huh?
Meanwhile,
Oop. Was that it?
Yeah, that was it for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Onward and upward.
Oh, that's the Jordan Peterson one.
You can just click. And then...
Oh, the Ghazi one. Do you want to watch the Ghazi one now?
No. Go to with the Facebook page. There's the two. I mean,
page?
Two in the Facebook chat.
Sure.
That will out.
Sure.
The one on the white man with the white guy should go last.
Okay.
Because that's the most high energy.
Cool. All right.
Oh, actually, no. Put the white guy first, and then the other guy last. I think that'd be the segue.
Sure. Okay, here we go.
Let's go.
Hopefully we won't get copyright strike for that.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
just mute it for a second.
Yeah. It's just as he's coming out.
Yeah.
Look at that binary lighting.
Oh yeah, the bisexual lighting. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You wanna bring it up now?
That doesn't mean that you've accidentally.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. He just says like you're dorky old Christos.
That was great.
High energy.
I've not seen that before. Oh, man.
I'm a comedian. You don't like me challenged? Don't watch my show. What's the matter? Dude, challenging.
That's good. He did not stop. He did not pause for crowd reaction. He just did his shit.
That's one of the keys, I think, to good stand-up is that, especially if you're in the rant mode, you just don't stop. And that's like, if you keep pausing, that allows people to settle, and you need to, you get more surprised the more it's happening. So if you slow down, things aren't surprising, or
it's not that rapid fire.
Expectations aren't undermined, in a good way.
Oh, that's good.
You imagine the first joke. The chief is someone of a tribe sees a big antler thing coming through the tall grass, and then it's like everyone's like, oh, whoa, what's coming towards us? Gotta get ready. It turns out it's the chief carrying a deer, and everyone's like, laughs. Everyone's like, whoa, hey, it's the chief. First joke. That was from one of the other essays.
Nice.
So last is a much shorter clip because it is just more of a meme. Maybe you've seen this one. It's about when who gets punched.
Oh yes.
And I have a story
and it all started
and more content that I put in the private chat.
It all started with that stupid Richard Spencer article, near the end of last year, right? It was like, oh, look at this dapper Nazi who doesn't dress the way we thought he would. Here's an in-depth interview where he gets to air all of his fucked up ideas in a mainstream media outlet, which then led to more interviews with other Nazis in mainstream media outlets. And then Richard Spencer got punched in the face, right? Which was an amazing moment in comedy history, right? Because, I don't know if you know, Richard Spencer was being interviewed, and in the interview he was asked about his Pepe the Frog badge. So he was trying to explain a meme, and then out of nowhere a hero came along and punched him in the face, instantly turning him into a meme.
Such a bigger
casting
meme.
a spell. And then every white liberal came out of the woodworks going, I don't know if that's what we should be doing. Should we really be applauding someone for punching a Nazi? Is that how we want to have political conversation? Shouldn't we hear people out? If you punch a Nazi, it doesn't make you as bad as one.
Oh, that was the
You know what we should do with Nazis? We should debate them, and we should defeat them in the marketplace of ideas. I don't really know where that is. I would like to defeat Nazis on planet Earth first. And then after we eradicate them here, you can fight them in the marketplace of ideas, fucking Narnia,
whatever imaginary realm.
Whatever imaginary realm it is that you think Nazis can be constructively debated, go for it, right? People get very upset. Oh, do you support political violence? Do you want me? Support political? Just slow down, okay? Do I support political violence? We're talking about punching fascists in the face, not suicide bombing, okay? Relax. Why do I support political? Why the fuck are you a volunteer Nazi safety advocate is my question. That's a funny thing to be concerned about, the well-being of hypothetical Nazis. Well, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. Who gets to decide? Who gets to decide who gets punched in the face? If you punch a Nazi, who's next?
Another Nazi.
Hopefully more Nazis. Why would you only punch one? That doesn't seem right.
Now we can make an extrapolated political argument about that, but we don't need to do that. What I want to do is tell you my story.
Yes.
About Richard Spencer getting punched and how I had a indirect role to play.
Oh wow.
That I wasn't even aware of.
That's exciting.
So there I am on J20, a block away from where it happened.
No way.
And I'm moseying around, by the way. I'm kind of moseying between a park that is on one side of a block, where the corner where Richard Spencer is being interviewed is more towards that park, and a corner where Jill Stein is hanging out with other Greens, and we're kind of like over there, kind of having our own little like, hey, come talk to Jill Stein, come talk to us Greens if you feel like it, but we're having our own little separate ring on one corner, taking space. And because people are around, because there's basically a few blocks where people are milling around, and it's the leftist part of town now, basically. And so I'm milling around, and suddenly, like, because it's high energy, people are running around and stuff, but someone's a guy, black bloc looking type of person runs past me, and there's this guy kind of chasing him. This is not like kind of speed walking; it was a very slow chase. And the guy has like a big he's backpacking, and he's like yelling after him, and I'm like, and I see him as the aggressor, so I kind of get in his way. This backpack, I'm like, dude, lay off of him. It's not worth picking a fight. We don't fight. There's lots of cops around who can pounce on us for fighting, or you go fight the cops. That's my head anyway. But anyway, he's like, no, we gotta stop. He just punched Richard Spencer. and I had to stop.
Oh, that's amazing.
Richard, I know that. Who's? Isn't that the Nazi? And I'm like,
gotta stop him.
Why are you after him then? You after a guy?
Yeah, right.
Spencer. So he goes off or whatever, and he doesn't fight me or whatever. But like I delay him the critical seconds for him to basically get away in the crowd and whatever.
Nice.
And there we go. So in the bottom of the private chat, though, I share the bottom link now. Is the guy I went with, who's a gonzo journalist, filmographer. He has very little in common with Poole, but he has some things in common with Tim Poole. He has some things in common in that he's kind of like a self-taught artist and gonzo-ist and kind of guy, organizer. But opposite in that, a guy, he is not an idiot, and I'm not sure what his education level is, but he's gotten himself in trouble. So he got himself arrested, and you'll see how in this clip. It's 8 minutes, but whatever. It's the second half is literally him in a kettle, and and he gets arrested with a bunch of other journalists there, and they're all charged with the riot act for participating in the riot, and they fight it a group, some type of anyway. There's a support group, and he wins his case against the federal government. So he goes to trial. He forces them to go to trial.
Nice.
But it made him a little overconfident because now he's facing for a different type of action. This time he wasn't a journalist doing. He was doing and in self-defense a Proud Boy, but is not being charged with the assault of the knife. He is being charged with the possession of the knife. At the time, still legal in New York. I think it's been lifted, but maybe it still is. Knives are actually illegal in New York to carry knives. Believe it.
Any knife, huh? Oh.
Well, particularly switchblades, but any knife.
Well, yes. I think that's illegal.
If you're carrying a knife randomly on the street, it's assumed you're carrying it to stab someone, or you could stab someone with it. It's as treated almost carrying a gun. That's just how, anti-arms that New York is. But it's also liberals took the challenge, like, oh, if you're going to ban guns, then you might as well ban knives. People can kill each other with knives. Okay, motherfucker, challenge accepted. So they banned, now you can't carry those either. So shut up, right-wingers. Stop giving liberal do-gooders ideas. By trying to call them out in hypocrisy, which they do with right-wingers. Well, if you're going to not be a hypocrite, then if you're going to be anti-abortion, then you also need to be anti or anti-women's rights. Yeah, well, they are. They're going to be.
It's like, sure. That sounds good. And
then women's marriage, whatever. Anyway, so his footage, and I want to put some context that this is all shot with a camera borrowed from the city library. Because he was doing it as part of a show he was doing with the public access channel that we do have, but is stated in the city of Albany almost by like activists, got a victory in that the city was forced to, but then in its implementation, it's done in the most shitty way possible. And it's never funded properly. So it exists, but it's not a community resource because it needs support to do that. It needs a full-time director.
Sure.
It needs to be open more than a combined 12 hours a week. And it actually needs to be contracted or arranged that they are actually taping every public meeting and then some. But it's all, if it's all going to be volunteer, then you're only going to get a smattering of programming and such. So anyway, that's why he stopped doing his gonzo journalism show where he would kind of pretend to be a newscaster and show the clips of he would basically shoot footage at various events around town as any type of protest. So, but he was kind of wrapping up that section of that project by going out to big larger demonstrations and then shooting people because no longer going to the local protest wasn't satisfying enough. So here's this footage. You will hear me once.
Hey, nice little Easter egg for everyone to find.
One for context. This is when Trump was elected.
Ah, okay.
Although it says 2018, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. It was the second Unite the Right rally. So actually,
state-sponsored
we go
white
back.
supremacist rally.
Yeah, sorry.
Anniversary
This was
of Charlottesville. Okay.
The anniversary of Unite the Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
My apologies. But by the way, his also stopped doing this because he hit what he called a peak, where he went to Charlottesville and his footage was requested and used by the big media corporations. It was used by CNN and so on, and he declined permission for Fox News to use it. And he appeared on CNN with his footage as a guest for a few minutes, and basically, now that I've done this, there's really nowhere else I can go, so I'm gonna quit. That was his attitude. He's that kind of guy.
Peak, huh?
But anyway, his two other videos. Okay, yeah, it's okay. It's much longer, but it's a lot of fun. Let me put in the proper link now.
Oh, so this is not the right one?
No, this is the reason it's short, because if you
I see.
in 2018, the Unite the Right rally for the anniversary of Charlottesville was kind of a bust. Only about 50 right wingers even showed DC, and they were outnumbered 4-1 by Antifa and other types. And so it kind of just became a black bloc march that was completely swarmed with the Metropolitan Police, and they were avoiding kettles and stuff. And he tells proudly of how they escaped by going through a restaurant and then sneaking through the kitchen and going through the alleyway in the back.
Wow.
Like a movie.
Yeah, right.
So if you actually want to be that, have protagonist syndrome, he was kind of lit that lifestyle. So this is basically chasing a black bloc, doing its thing, which, if you need context, a black bloc is simply, when in America anyway, is everyone's decked out to be fully anonymous. They are wearing a change of clothes underneath, so that you can quickly take off the black clothes and then blend civilian-like. Real Assassin's
That's smart.
Creed. Real Assassin's Creed. Stuff. But it means that basically whatever you're wearing on top, you're ditching. So you got to be prepared to let go of it. Or you're wearing a bag and then you stuff it all in your bag. But if you're stopped, you're going to be arrested.
And they find it,
So you just ditch it. And I picked up some of the pieces after the fact. So my kit is now from someone else's. Anyway, so you see the red and black flag right there, just like the one you have up.
Yep.
You sympathizer, you. And and the main purpose is, in fact, to go around and do property destruction in a march. So you go around, smashy. It's a protest.
That's what gets coverage, yeah.
Well, it gets coverage, but it's also a matter of you're protesting, but instead of just shouting and expecting that you're that by doing this you're building public support, you want to do more than just morale and wank off. If the protest is going to have a purpose, taking some kind of action that hurts the system, and smashing the windows or infrastructure on the street, doing basically, you want, if you're going to have the mindset that you're fighting a guerrilla war against the powers that be, then you want to be doing some kind of infrastructure damage. But obviously, if you just got your hands and a hammer, then smashing windows is what you got to do. But I also want to point out that later on, they held a vigil for the windows. They went back and held a vigil for the windows they smashed. After they were replaced, and they held a remembrance ceremony for the window. And maybe, maybe I could work that into an act. But
right.
In the contradictionary, there's a joke about how there were offers in this Seattle, the first big use of black bloc in America, I think, where the anarchists of the area offered to replace the windows they had smashed, but they weren't taken up on their offer. Anyway,
okay,
because it's more than that. But anyway, this is a half an hour, but it's all good. So let's go.
Cool. Yeah, let's go.
Trigger war. That, my dear friend, is a black bloc. Yeah.
Shake the camera.
He gets better.
I hope so, because I'm getting a bit dizzy already.
By the way, the drumsticks you're hearing, that's
nice.
And knowing what's happening with that, I keep my distance. I'm staying march with them, but I don't want it because I'm not part of it.
Yeah.
The trash can. I remember literally this game where a bunch of like, news people were taking pictures of that. My buddy kind of get like behind because this block is like this march is moving really fast. Like most marches,
yeah, it looks that
they
way.
move at a snail's crawl. This is practically jogging.
Right. This is almost running. Yeah.
Practically jogging because basically you have the bikes right behind you, and they could basically charge forward and break you up, you know, at any time.
At any moment. Yeah.
You have the whole line of police like behind them, so you're being kind of chased, and obviously. Police are trying to make like cordons at various intersections, so it's a complete grid, so you can just kind of keep snaking, and that was kind of the plan. You'll see that it gets cornered.
Yeah, there's some windows for the in memoriam reel.
Yeah, right. I will remember. Will you remember me? So these white tents here, these are sort of the staging points for the inauguration, because like the National Mall, every entry point had basically a militarized checkpoint, and tents like those were kind of like the check-in, get searched areas, and all of this action takes place outside of that. You know, this is all adjacent to the National Mall, north of it. And this is mostly in the morning, like 10 to 11 o'clock. I think the march itself started at 10. They met up at a square that was a few blocks north of here. And they snaked around. And it was like, and the point is that there's no planned route. It was really just a matter of, that's why I was kind of really excited. Like, oh shit, block. you know, because it was the first time I'd see one in person. So I was just like really excited and just kind of fought because I wanted to be in a march, but obviously, and it's the only march, but it's a very dangerous march to be in because it's being chased by look, you can see how kitted up.
Yeah.
But I mean, this winter is
they're ready to smash. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I didn't have any protection on either, but it was actually not that cold. It was like a little buzzing, I think. I remember not wearing a coat.
Well, when you're jogging too, you don't have to wear as many layers.
Yeah, but whatever you're moving around or not. I didn't expect to be jogging around a whole mile.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I was just joking.
But that's the difference between being prepared and being. I was kind of just prepared to kind of go and see, just looks good and see what happens. Because I wasn't even sure like what kind of events there would be or march, whatever, and that's why for a majority of the time I hung out with other Greens there because they came from other states in the metro area and so on. So it was nice to chat with them and whatever.
Nice.
Anybody have
This is where we can. But they are around, basically.
We stay wide. Stay wide. Do not see. Come on, hurry up. Moving it.
So funny. So you hear me and my fellow yelling at the video, stay wide. Because like when we say we want to stay, like we want to be near, of course, support and whatever. But we also don't want to be in the black. We cannot be part of it because we're not blacked up. We're not in the unit.
Right.
And, and whatever. And there needs to be a level of trust and communication that we're not.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to inadvertently.
So we're yelling at him to stay wide. He does not stay to keep up.
He wants to be right up in there.
So I just want to give context for the following dialogue, which is quite funny.
Cool.
Hurry up. And they're ready to fight. What makes you relax? Let's get back in the streets. Let's get out.
I believe there are multiple groups, and they're kind of converging here.
I see.
Because one way of like splitting police forces up so you don't get multiple groups moving around. So I think that's what you're saying here. But then they become one
Hey, bud! That was a whole fucking lot. Oh, that was Washington, D.C., January 20th, inauguration of President Donald Trump. Stay put for 30 seconds. Nope. You're on. Just listen to me.
We say why, we say moving, right?
I'm not chasing you all day. And I'm not talking about safety. I'm talking about my knees, motherfucker. Fuck your knees. Oh, yeah, you're gonna take one of my
So we basically go up against the wall like, shit. We're not gonna catch up. He's also keeping his camera tilted up, catching anyone's faces, because he doesn't want this footage to be used to incriminate anyone.
Used against them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very smart. He gets, he gets
right in people's faces. Yeah.
Interval time. Mustang, but then he goes to Ben because he needs to get the shot, and he does, but then he gets back.
Oh, jeez, I'm looking at the feed from Facebook. It doesn't look like the video is coming through very well. Let me see if I can close some stuff.
If it becomes overwhelming, skip ahead another 30 seconds because the next is
maybe I could put it in a we'll put it, let's see if that
blurry.
That's pretty dang low. I don't know about that. 360. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. Let's hope it'll hold in that.
But what you're seeing here is that like way more choppers, I mean motorcycles, have now like coming in, and so now like they're turning right. They're being turned right. So this is where, you know, from the park onward, the kettle starts forming between the force of police that are behind them, that are kind of trying to get on the sides, and get in front of them. So
let me see if I can just shut down some some other stuff that's running in the background. Doesn't look like it's overwhelming my computer at all. I don't know why I'm getting such poor quality coming through. Oh well, I should be okay.
been blocked on both sides of this block.
Yeah, there's no getting out, huh?
They're using an out rank with about 10.
Gotcha.
Where are we going? We want to get the footage from up here, please.
Hey, Luke. What are you going to do? I'm trying to contain because it pepper sprayed me directly in the water. It's lovely. Okay, let's see here. Anybody get sprayed? Everybody's okay?
Okay, we got police on both sides, one riot, one cops, and it doesn't look good because I'm stuck in between, so we'll see what happens.
Damn. Damn.
So 70% of the block got through.
Yeah, it looked that way.
Didn't get through. There's about 20 that didn't get through.
That was an amazing rush. Holy
I'm not
shit.
sure how they didn't get through. But yeah. I'm not better as in like, what are you out? Because it looked like 20. So didn't get through. You made a hole. But
yeah,
there's just
they
so
must have just
many
closed in
backup
from the
cops.
side as
You
soon
could-
as they.
Yeah, like that. You can see the lines. There's literally 2 lines, full lines, decked out.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
So it kind of settles in as he's. There's some hijinks that occur. Could skip the end, or you could move on to Ghazi. But that's for the most part. That was the money shot, and of course worth it.
Yeah.
But now he's stuck. So I mean, if you remember the ones that got out, the block that gets out, they continue to wreak havoc. As now there's significant police block, and to chase them around because there is a limit. Moving around continuously.
True.
They set fire to that limo. To remember the on fire and how. For the following week, that was like all liberals could talk about. Being president was pretty bad, but I mean that limo was set on fire. That was bad precedent, you know. But
yeah, wow.
And so so he's watching the smoke from the sidelines while I'm on the block next to the. It was weird that I actually wasn't aware. No, I mean I'm aware that a limo would set on fire, but I didn't go near. Perhaps I didn't have proper masking. You know, this is pre-COVID. No, I didn't have any good mask. So light red scarf on. There's a frame of it, but that's not protective at all. It was there to accent because my jacket was blue, green, so my outfit was not well coordinated. I was dressed for comfort because I knew I was going to be outside all day in winter.
Right.
That was my concern.
Sure.
But then it turned out to. Now we joined a march later in the night after dark. In this case, the police are moving. We walked all the way to Chinatown and stayed in an intersection for a good. We moved on to basically turn around and go all the way back, and that was the way.
Oh wow!
Where I basically like, okay, it's like clock. Let's get this subway back to our hotel. Yeah, I think that was it. And I'd had enough fun, but there was a moment where there were Trump's, because now like the speech was over, so now Trump's supporters were milling around, and I had a where I tried to scare one by like kind of charging and then trying to faint out. Didn't work. Me. So I was like, I was feeling pretty like, shit.
That sucks.
Real dumb.
That
I looked real dumb for a second, trying to be a scary anarchist. And the good. I wasn't wearing clothes. You got to have the outfit. But I was pretty pissed after the day's events and general Trumpness, and seeing that they're happy. We own the libs. We're destroying the plan in the country, but we. You live.
Sure on those libs, yeah.
End
of the day, that's all that matters. Yeah. Oh,
I think I had
you and me both. Yeah.
I was having those visions bad. I could just start beating the shit fucks, but those are private thoughts and in a video game.
In a video.
To be over here with us, because we lit that fire, right? That was us.
Just good. A little bit forward.
Holy shit! That's a fire. Still detained here. Sure. Thank you.
Detained for the next 12 hours.
Being detained by the police.
It's basically a line of community officers.
It's January 20th. Trump inauguration protest. J20. Right? That's the name of it? Yeah. All right. Fire. Check it out.
He's trying to narrate.
I'm kind of glad I have an alibi now.
Yeah, right? We got a pretty solid alibi in the world. Hey, you guys had eyes on us the whole time.
Oh my God.
So as you do if
it
you
is
are
apparent, according to my friend,
you have fun with whoever's with you. You do it around.
This is what that fire was about. So, no more limo.
Statement number 2! From non-governable! Detained by the police at 12 and out! If you agree with us, please add your voice! Needless to say, fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck all politicians! Fuck all politicians! With the country built on white supremacy and patriarchy! No politician can serve anything else! That goes for his police bonds too! We may be arrested here today! But we will not be silent! We call on communities run by Trump to defend themselves against gangsters and racists!
Since they were stuck in place.
We won't back down!
Yeah.
Now this was new. I'm over there in the back. Watching on. We could do something more interesting.
That's, yeah. Wow. I've never seen a
because I'm
I've never
obviously
seen a
not
group
here
get
to,
through.
They had one line, and then they
Yeah.
had multiple lines, keeping us. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
in the
for
day
sure.
that they only have the 15 officers there or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do try to charge and get out of that kettle, they're definitely going to be arrested and way more charges because the only
Could go
charges
down
they
much
got
harder.
were they got trumped up riot charges and citing like being part of the riot
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. But they all had footage of themselves and what they were doing, and yeah. But they were kettled
Yeah.
for about 12 hours. Then they were put on a bus for another 6 hours before actually being taken to the city jail, which was overnight. And he was released in the morning, I think, and then got home by his own means. But we basically had to leave him behind. I know leave no man behind, but we left him behind because we were like,
You're not gonna jailbreak him, yeah.
stay wide, god damn it. You gotta stay wide. This is for your safety, actually. We gotta stay wide of the
Right.
we're not because we're not prepared. Whatever. So I was trying to track down information, trying to get like updates because I wasn't eventually you couldn't even go near this block anymore. As the day went on, they had actually block all the intersections leading to that corner. So I couldn't go around to see, if he was still there or whatever. So I was trying to get an update and eventually gave up.
Wow.
It was a thrilling
Intense stuff.
Thrilling day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't regret any of it. Check
No,
out his
yeah.
Charlottesville video. That's the good stuff. And it was actually used by big outlets. And obviously he did the follow up. I went to the Charlottesville anniversary in Charlottesville, and the plan was to go and join him in DC as well. He went on, but our comrade he injured himself while we were at the safe house, and I drove him home. A full 10-hour drive. Do not like doing that. Never want to do that again. Oh yeah.
Welcome to News World, Albany Banana Corps. Today we have Dan, Jake.
No.
Look at you, all dressed up.
Not the old video that you never want to see again. I'm kidding. It's good. I wish I was a little
Plaat
looser and more
of the Green Party running for Albany County Executive. So he's going to take a moment to introduce himself and explain what the Green Party is and what Albany County Executive is.
Okay. So yeah, I'm the Green Party candidate for Albany County Executive. The county executive is kind of like the president of the county, or the mayor rather. He deals with budget. He appoints the heads of the departments. Albany County has a lot of departments. There's a lot of local politicians who they always say county is where the action is because there's a lot more regulation happening there and there's a lot more money being spent, about $500 million in total. It's where all of the federal and state monies get divvied up and distributed for building roads or fixing them rather, and all kinds of other things. So where the Green Party stands apart from the major two parties, Republicans, Democrats, Republicrats, is that we don't take corporate money. We're a workers' party, we're a people's party. We put planet, peace, and people before profit. And we have principles. The principles are social and economic justice, grassroots democracy, and peace. Those are the 4 main values. There's 10 other sub-values that mostly have to do with policy, that have to do with sustainability, that we're both left and libertarian. We're not only against corporate power, but we're against obtrusive government power.
Nice. Good speech, Could have used a little more
and there's
energy.
40 minutes
but
of that,
suppose-
and there's a skit that we do at the
A skit?
It's my first
Oh,
time,
what?
man. First time. No. You want to skip to 30 minutes in. 30 minutes in. Oh yeah, it's long because he has his other sections, his other things. Talking to me, in between. So I'm the in segments. So go a little further in.
Okay.
Go a little further in. There. Okay, good.
Like
the last bit's fine.
You profanity-laced mouth.
The camera the camera works horrible because I was very late and very drunk.
Get your shit together, man.
I got it. I went there and I did it, and it was awesome. And nobody can fire me. Anger is a new trick for a robot.
I'm not saying.
Respond.
Sorry, what's a new trick?
That's
Will Smith. Because of my social progressive.
I knew the reference. I just didn't know how to play
accept
off of it.
Yeah.
Because like I knew he was making the iRobot reference. Think of like, what would be a good quip from iRobot? But I don't know what kind of quip I could make, so I just go.
Yeah.
Well.
That's good.
Socially, or semi-conscious robots as persons.
I think that nanotech uptown is Skynet.
It's certainly part of the network of multinational corporations that could be considered like as
they
powerful as
have
Skynet.
artificial
There certainly
intelligence.
is destructive. If you go up to the tar sands like up in Alberta, it looks like the apocalypse of
tar sands.
In fact, it's tonight.
They're trying to get tar sands
Yeah.
next to my apartment in the South End. Like they're trying to do
It's
that.
been blocked so
Do you
far.
need more oil and
okay.
trains and shit down there? Like, I mean, at some point that
No,
shit's
we
gonna
don't.
fucking go off and kill like 40,000 people. And shut down upstate New York all the way to Montreal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, it's a fucking problem. We're
car-
talking like
Yeah.
it's gonna set Rensselaer on fire.
Before
Y'all
you
are
go,
fucking
before
crazy.
you go on, the true danger, of course, is climate change. When it comes to climate change, it's not a matter of when or it's just how dramatic it will be.
It's gonna be dramatic, and let me tell you.
And we're already seeing some of that. Polar vortexes are not like some natural accident. The very weather system has shifted, and the oceans are in fact getting warmer. And there's only like one area in the North Atlantic that's actually cold.
The salinity needs to be, the water freezes and then the salinity changes. I don't know, it's fucked up, but it's fucked up. Listen, y'all want to act like we couldn't power the earth off of solar power and tides? If you believe that that is not possible, you are part of the problem. That's all
Offshore wind. The big push for when it comes to our state government is that our energy plan, which is basically burn natural gas till it runs out.
Right.
It should include offshore winds.
It's
okay for the
perfect.
fish.
We have the technology and the resource
really
to
do.
save the planet, and we're not doing it
And
because
it's-
we're allowing these corporate
I'm trying to be
fuckers
half
to fuck
serious
us.
now. I'm trying to be half
Yeah,
serious.
right. Trying to get the real answers in.
But he's like
He's
just fucking
like
around.
bullshitting.
It's so awkward, but like I'm trying my best to kind of be silly sometimes, but I'm also like I can't help but like no, I'm in candidate mode. I'm
I'm really running for office. I really have to.
I actually
have
am
real
running
answers
for
and stuff. Yeah.
office, but
yeah.
a few other inviting me on their show. So
Right.
Okay,
What
here's
is
where
with
it
the
gets
green
funny.
screen?
Here's where it
too,
gets
though?
actually funny on purpose.
All right.
He puts me in the hot.
And now for the interrogation room.
Oh shit.
Rocky pose.
Doing the Rocky. There you go.
I didn't know what else to do. We just spent an hour just fucking around.
Just run.
Green party, come out and play. The Ants movie had very anti-authoritarian tones.
That was the last good DreamWorks movie, I think, because it had. Oh
haven't
yeah,
changed that
Ants was
one,
their
you know.
transition from their good
Yeah.
2Ds to their shitty 3Ds, where everything's pop culture references. Ants is a fusion. Too.
I agree.
This is supposed surprised it's him. So.
Wake the fuck up! Damn it, Dan.
I thought you shot me.
It was a banana, Dan.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Are you an Albany native?
Yes.
Are you running for Albany County Executive for the Green Party?
Yes.
What's your favorite color, and would you ever sell toys that may or may not poison children?
Orange and no.
Even if it may just poison children? May?
I don't like poison children.
Okay.
It's
Tell us
hard-
about Occupy. Dan, we know you know about Occupy!
Yes. Told you I was there.
Yeah, okay.
Made up of core of anarchists that was joined by many liberals and progressives
I couldn't
because
decide
of
if I was
our
supposed- I wanted to be
overreaching
deadpan
message. We
about
changed the
everything.
conversation.
Yeah,
It
go
allowed
back.
people like Bernie Sanders to come up and say, I'm fighting inequality. And
Oh, sorry, you put me to sleep! Tell us about Black Lives Matter.
I know that Black Lives Matter, and we need community control of police and a justice system that heals instead of imprisons people. Because
right.
people in cages doesn't work.
And I'm also trying to like.
Do you know a good sound tech we could send to City Hall? I'll pay for it.
If it was citizen funded, of course.
All right.
Because it definitely needs it. Those acoustics are
I
horrible.
will pay just like a sound guy to come down there. I watch the TV on the public access or government access. I can't hear what you're saying. Sometimes you got an empty chair. It's just an empty chair and mumbles. And furthermore, I can't hear what you're saying. You ever heard the Troy City Council?
No,
I know your county, but
I've never been to a Troy City Council meeting, but I haven't heard good things.
Yo, Wilshire talks through a conch shell and wonders why Cthulhu and Aquaman show up. Listen, you! What do you think of mass incarceration?
I think it's wrong, and it's not only, as Michelle Alexander put it, the new Jim Crow, it's in part the new slavery.
And the police.
What about them?
I meant the band.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
All right. Chickens in Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
A good compromise would be if there was like one park that one could raise like a community garden where all the chickens were just there, so that's just...
I want to know about the chicken!
I know, we don't have Jennings to veto it anymore, so why hasn't it been reintroduced?
Good question.
Usually when something dies once, it's like gone forever. It's stupid. Just like the recall initiative and referendum process that we never got in this damn state, but California and Oregon and Colorado, they can actually have mass participation. They can actually legalize weed, and we don't even have anything. We have to do everything through legislatures. It's sickening. It's stupid. I've lobbied them. It's not pretty. Not pretty at all. Either their leadership and they're utterly corrupt, or they actually are ignorant.
I smoke weed every day.
You don't believe in God? What do you believe in? You're a bunch of Satanists. And so you all believe in evolution, like we all came from squirrels or something?
That guy. I've never spent 6 solid hours vomiting in a toilet because of weed. I have.
I can believe that.
Because of alcohol on numerous occasions.
Totally legal.
Totally
I've
legal.
heard.
Oh, I think I might go do that now. And smoke some weed. Would you ever save the last of each box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch for a year so you could spend an afternoon eating the cinnadust out of a mason jar for an afternoon?
Absolutely not.
That is where we differ. You seen Blade Runner?
No, I haven't.
What?
Yeah, it's one of my...
Okay, then
it's
before
one of
the
my
next
sci-fi
time
shames.
we hang out,
I know all about
you
it.
need to see that movie.
I know all about it, I just haven't sat through it.
You know who didn't see Blade Runner? Sam Fine.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Unlike Danielle, who has to work for a living.
I met her. She's awesome.
She's an activist.
You know?
She's
You
an
know?
activist.
We're talking about candidates in
and
a
she's
local
not.
county.
She's not a legislative aid, which is what fine is.
I don't think that any politician, I think it should be illegal for politicians to take money from corporate donors. Straight out.
I'm glad Sam
And
hasn't
it's weird
seen
that
it,
the
because I had him on
county
his
board of
show,
elections said they could do it on a county level.
Y'all don't take, at the Green Party, y'all don't take handouts from corporate.
No corporate donors.
You see?
I said that already.
We can have a change. He's the change.
Green Party's the change.
Green Party's the change.
This is not about me.
This is not about him.
It's about the issues. It's usually just leadership versus not leadership. And then it's just a matter of what gang you're in.
Did you know there was no such thing as a seagull? It's actually a glaucous-winged gull. And speaking of goals, what would your goal be as Albany County Executive?
It would be to disseminate power in the county government, to distribute resources based on people's needs assessment, but also matter of participation. Whether it's through the budget, whether it's hiring people to lead departments who have been down in the trenches, who are activists, who actually know how things work. But it's just not a matter of how things work as they are, but people who have a vision as well as how things can be better, especially a vision that includes the participation and the governance of those who use services, who, well, basically all citizens, all residents.
Dan, thank you for being on the show.
Terrorist fist bump?
Terrorist fist bump. All right.
Oh my God, it's code.
I didn't know what else to say. I should have just left it at
Nice.
so that was 2014.
Nice.
You can see where my digressions about pop. The editing was pretty good there. You notice how there's some of the times I'm like,
very
okay,
clean.
I can work off of him with this. And other times I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't know how to work with this.
No.
I want to be able to make a quip, work off of this, but we have totally different energy.
Right.
I'm trying to am I supposed to rate man? But
Uh-huh.
I'm not feeling that. Like you can see how awkward it is. So I'm trying to change it up by being a little fun, a little funnier, and just you could see it for yourself.
That was great, though.
All right, let's spend the rest of our time doing Yaz.
Alrighty.
Yazi. So Zach, remember because it's more recent news now that the leader or the person who runs the cult known as the Black Hammer, a Yazi, at least that's the stage name, is under investigation because he's a rapist, basically. But the Black Hammers, among other things, he is thrown in with the right. Because when you just read Settlers, and you should read it as well. Oh, and I also want to point out that it was months after that interview I did watch Blade Runner through. So I did rectify.
Very good. I was worried about that part.
I
That
did
kinda-
rectify that because it was just one of those movies that I watched half the movie via clips, but not the whole thing. So
Well, I'm glad that would have
or
set my
how
mind at
important
ease,
it
I
is
suppose.
and how everyone talks about it, as far as sci-fi history goes. So I finally got it, maybe from the library, maybe through other means. I actually watched the director's cut, I think so, and of course, great, and it added more context to my knowledge about it. So a recent, maybe it was 3 weeks ago, well, actually it's 2 weeks, the Chapo Trap House interviewed a guy, I think it was the QAnon podcast, and which isn't the QAnon podcast. I mean, it's called, I forget what it's called, but it's the lefties that talk about QAnoners.
So it'd either be TrueAnon or QAnon Anonymous. Then
TrueAnon, that's it.
TrueAnon. Okay.
Yeah, he talked to TrueAnon and who had more of a handle on what was going on with Black Hammers now and Gandhi. And so he mentions towards the end how weird and surreal it is to see Ghazi talk to Gavin McInnes, and he has an interview with them, and how they kind of talk about vaccines in a weird way and what they agree on and what they talk about.
Oh boy.
And so when I heard this, I'm like, I'll listen to this.
Right.
I'm curious. My curiosity's peaked. So I did, and it is very entertaining. And 30 minutes in, maybe a little, there's a surprise. So we'll go at least that far. Probably not too much. I'll to you.
Okay. Sure. Let's do it.
Unless something hits me.
What were you arrested for?
Girl. Hey, Amika. Hey, Gavin. Hey, Sam.
Woohoo! Aquaba, y'all.
I'm on your side.
Well, I do want to preface.
I
The
did
guy-
it wrongfully arrested.
Like
real quick.
to
Gavin,
quote,
first, I'm
to
proud
quote
of you.
Luke Skywalker, everything he says is wrong.
Yeah,
like everything, he lies.
uniquely
so
wrong about
much.
everything. Oh yes.
Everything he says is just blatant lies.
Right.
Just based on how people were making fun of him 2 years ago, with when they were building
compound.
Hammer City. So
Yeah,
you kind of
I
need, and
watched.
isn't shared here, is that they didn't actually purchase the land. They got a verbal agreement with the owner that he would accept their offer for the land, and they consider this to be, we have the land now, and
and
now we just have to follow through with the steps above. Being
Right.
amateurs who are under the age of 24, they fucked up, and they didn't actually purchase the land, so they reported as trespassing, and scared him off, ran him off. Ever since, they moved to, of all places, because maybe that's just where Ghazi to Atlanta, where they've been renting a house, and Ghazi just recruits homeless teenagers, which is so ugly in so many ways, because homeless teenagers
Taking
are
advantage.
simultaneously the most needy, also the most desperate people. And by needy, I mean they're toxic from being homeless at such a young age.
Yeah.
Or they were thrown out of the house for various reasons, sometimes in some way, and sometimes it's because they actually are total assholes that ran away from home and hate everyone. And they're looking for somewhere to belong, but toxic, nobody wants them, except for other toxic, exploited people, psychic vampires, as they're called. So,
For sure.
so they all feel they're worse. And a lot of anarchist cells are kind of half these people, which is sad.
Yeah.
And that's why I stay slaying for things. So anyway, so they kind of act like an anarchist cell, except basically what they harass other Marxist groups in the small as they are, like the PSL or like the PS. So, which they consider to be their competition, they just harass them, and that's the extent of their activism. The story is pretty much comes from a Russian actor or a guy who is almost a subcontractor of the FSB. That's the Russian intelligence. Basically,
No way. Wow.
Yeah, way. Which the overall Uhuru movement, which better known as, or should be known as, the African Socialist People's Party. Never have a party name that's 4 words, but God, that just shows how brain broken they are. Signal red flag 1 is their name. Their org name is more than 3 words. It should never. An org name should never be more than 3 words, because then you have to have a 4. But
Those are awkward. Yeah. 3
but
letters.
they're
at
all
most,
they're all kind of bad leftists, so to speak. Like, speak leftist jargon, and they can probably consider themselves left, and they use the word socialist. But they don't get along with anybody. Why? Because they are primarily race focused and only dream of. And it's why they attract the most liberal white guilty, liberals with white guilt complexes, the actual people with white guilt complexes. And you get a taste of that in Channel 5's video, Sadim talks to Huru, and Andrew kind of points out as he travels the country that, like, they say they built a basketball quiz, it is an empty lot. There is no basketball. So they collect money to say that they're doing community projects, and then you follow up and find that there are no community projects, or if they are, they're the leader of the one, not Ghazi, the one who's sane in comparison, but still very trustworthy person, but just raided by the FBI, like, raided by, Trump was raided by. No, actually, like, a face, kicked out of your own home, treated like, you're gonna come out shooting. His house and their office was searched and raided because of this Russian connection.
Wow.
And by the way, Ghazi is, and the Hammers are a splinter of the Huru people.
So that's the connection. Okay.
So that's the connection. They're the splitters. When you have the splitters of the splitters of the splitters. Well, African people, Socialist People's Party is a splinter of a splinter, some other trot group from the 70s. Because they're the trots that read settlers and decided that white people are the problem, and everything is can't organize working people because some of the working people in America are settlers, exploiters, people, and thus the bad guys. And so that's the background. Maybe I could cover settlers and like how that is, but that's far down on the list. So let's get started with this.
All right, let's get into it.
Son, I'm proud of what you have built. I'm proud of the work you have done. I know it's not easy being a leader, especially against this this Fauci empire, this Dementia Joe empire.
Well, you were there from day one. We say Uhuru because of you.
I know, and I'm so. God has shown me why He allowed Joe Biden to steal the election, and it was it's for real. It was for my people to understand.
Keeps adjusting. It was fine when it was
Can't even
up.
keep his composure for a minute. We're 47 seconds in, and one of the co-hosts is already just cracking up at the guy.
It's like a comedy act, but that's how he gets you. Like away from when he's not on camera, he's probably an abusive asshole, and that's all there is to it. At least others are coming forward with, especially when someone actually came away and said, like, yeah, he was raping us, and whatever.
Jesus, wow.
There's something I've understood for a very mother effing long time, and they gonna cuss. But black and brown people, listen to me. Specifically, working class, poor, hood, black and brown people. We have, objectively, if you take your emotions out of it, objectively, we have way more in common with the right than the left, with the Republicans, with the Trumpers. I don't want to say Republicans because we got some rhinos. I want to say the real ones. And I'm saying this, we're going to talk a little bit more, but I want to say that these times are dark. And for somebody like me who have gone a decade dragging white people to have to be forced to come to a situation to say, girl, unity is needed right now. Evil has presented itself. These are serious times.
James, between 25 and 33, is probably, the kind of gap that you can look the same.
Yeah.
I think comparing 33 to 40 will probably, we'll see if this gets thinner or not, but it's what I worry about. But otherwise, but you notice I did have a bit more hair to slick back 2014. But otherwise, yes, I do look the same. It's because I have
it's remarkable.
Put on extensive amount of weight. I put on a little in the last 2 years,
Really?
But section, and I'm
surprised.
Trying to get rid of it. Well, I just work out. But anyway,
yeah,
I'll get on that.
Man, it's been a brutal summer. Brutal summer, that's for sure.
I've always wanted to know what happened with you in BLM. Like, I remember seeing a video of you and some other black dude on the
Never
run.
BLM.
Know the truth?
That's the point.
Yeah.
You want to know the truth?
Yeah.
You want to know the
This,
truth?
One, the Bible, and two, pedophilia.
How are those
Some of y'all may not
answers?
know this, but I'm a victim, not a victim, a survivor of pedophilia, of a pedophile. And the left
that explains something.
defends pedophiles viciously. And when I made a stance against that in my own organization, there was an alleged pedophile in my own organization who targeted a single mother and her kids. And when I kicked him out of the organization, they all attacked me. Because the left, liberals have this weird thing. You can look it up. I ain't lying.
Talking
it's a lot more prevalent than they want to make you think.
Is this Antifa or BLM?
By the way.
Both.
Wow.
But primarily
even
BLM,
though he was
because the BLM
neither.
kind of people, because that's who was
He
in
was
my
the
organization.
Black Nationalist
And they
org,
say
and he was
that,
a
oh,
chapter leader.
pedophilia is not, it's normal, it's okay, it should be added to the LGBTQ spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
No
You can
one
look that
says
up.
that. You are
It's
lying.
that.
I know. I'm aware.
Another thing is, and then I'll let you ask your questions, but I want to give a shout out and a salute and appreciation to white Trumpers, because white Trumpers bailed me out of jail. I'd be there today. I'd be there today. I'd be there today.
What were you arrested for?
I went on Twitter. I saw these leftists, these commies, these socialists, these Antifas, these liberals laugh and say, I hope he dies in there. I hope he gets raped in there. That's what they were saying on Twitter. Now, you can't rape the willing baby. So I saw a lot of men up in there. And I didn't see one that could rape
You
me.
can't rape
Willing! Anyways,
willing.
it's been a while.
Oh my God. What a disgusting person.
Yeah. And he's wearing that shirt and saying, like, those socialists and commies are pedophiles. Commie
Yeah, he's
shirt,
wearing it. Yeah, hammer and gear. Just a variation on the hammer and sickle. Can't rape the willing. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
He throws out a lot of shit to endear himself to these freaks.
Yes, and freaks they are. That is no question. What did you say there?
Wow. But I want to say that white Trumpers had me. They got me out of jail. A white Trumper taking my case when liberals did not want to take the case. And a white Trumper
He's making all of this
media,
because the QAnon guy didn't make
gateway pundit, told my story while the liberal media turned away. They was there, like their cameras were there, but they didn't want to show that this liberal Democrat Atlanta, who is ran by Obamas, is pushing this crap when they're arresting us, Black Hammer organization, because we protest against the mandate, not the vaccine itself, but the mandate.
Okay. Yeah.
And that we've been protesting against the mandate at the CDC every Friday with our Trumper brothers and sisters. And we've even getting salutes from some of the Trumper police, I won't say pigs, Trumper police and Trumper, the Homeland Security, who would even come around and salute what we was doing. And they told the CDC, we not gonna lock them up.
This is a standard line. Protesters did like protest when their protest is completely impotent. A pattern is some mention of anecdote where, like, one of the police said he agreed with us, or one of the people stopping us from entering, or someone who works in, like, they supported us. They're on our side. Or it's a mention of, like, they agree with us. We have the people on our side.
Right.
The people on your side. Why didn't they let you in?
Why didn't they show up? Yeah.
Yeah. Or why didn't they? That's always my follow up is like, why didn't they join you?
Right.
That's
right.
always the whole, like, if you tax, join it.
Right.
If you're prepared to. But.
Right. That reminds me of Caleb Maupin counting the service workers at the conference centers as attendees to his conference. The people that had to be there to serve the drinks.
He does do that, doesn't
yes,
he? Oh
he
my
does.
God.
It's like, we have support from workers everywhere. There was like 5 or 6 people who were working, and
Well, they
count
didn't
as part of the total.
refuse to serve them, and that's
That's
consent to
that's
be
the
there.
that's the test. Yeah, right.
Because if they didn't like them, they've done their job. Because obviously, capitalist work isn't coercive in it.
Oh, of course not. Yeah. They could just get another shitty low-level job that they can barely survive on.
Now I know his org just had their second conference. They made it to year 2. Congrats!
Oh, yes.
Congrats! You know, 1 year anniversary. I in our Green Party, I was hearing somebody who we need to have year conferences. You don't have our own like we have a national Green Party conference, but that's national and it's hard to get to it, or it's a pain in the butt. It's definitely more doable to have a statewide conference, and I'm like, that's what we invite some friends of mine to. At the very least, I want to be in the role of you, and otherwise, the only meetings we have, or the statewide meetings we have, are for the committee, for the executive committee. I mean, or it's called the state committee, and it's a business meeting, and they're the only hour of public comment of like, let's listen to any that show up, but again, if you, a standard member, show up, you're there for the 1 hour, and then you're there to basically listen to the meeting, and you can be there and talk with everyone later. But it's not a social meeting. Definitely, I mean, it's a business meeting, and so there's really no reason for a lot of other Greens to show up. We need a conference where we can have talks and
I agree.
And party and have video where we can put where people aren't cringing at leftists that actually have, because otherwise I'm looking at Caleb Maupin's thing and I'm jealous. I'm like, oh, having a conference where I actually go meet and talk with comrades and be around people like themselves and not just be in online spaces. And they're actually in an org.
Sell a bunch of Caleb's books. Yeah.
Funnily enough, I see the table of books and people deriding like the book sale. I'm like, well, most anarchist get-togethers or conferences come in the form of what is literally called the Anarchist Book Fair.
Yeah.
Like that's the stand thing.
They tend to have more than one author, though. The book fair at Caleb's thing was like 80% his books.
I know that's a very important distinction. Also has lots of tables with all the publishers, Verso, Zero, Haymarket,
Sure.
And
sure.
And everyone has their own newspaper of some type. Now let's keep going.
All right.
Look at God. You're not gonna let this big pharma democrat facility, control you. And another thing is that I'm doing this because Georgia has an election coming, and we can't let that mammy sellout Stacey Abrams win. She gonna force us to take these vaccines. She's gonna push this mandate, and she's gonna take away our guns.
If you're not
and I don't know if you looked outside lately,
you're only anti-mandate. You're basically like, you're going to be forced to take the vaccines. Well, if you're not anti-vaccine, then it doesn't affect you then. It sounds like, vaccine, you have already gotten it. It's like, it is when and this is a good callback, it's like being offended on someone else's behalf when you're like, I'm against any kind of government mandate because that's, less freedom, even though I'm going to do what's being mandated because I'm a good person, or it is in my thing to do. It's like saying it's the right thing to do for me, but not for these other people who are stupid, or it won't be right. It'll be right for them, and I recognize that. But I've joked about before, and I'm trying to make this a bit like, if you think mask wearing and home is terrible and lack of restriction of freedom, then wait until we climate adapting to climate change.
Yep.
When that hits the fan, it's going to be a lot more than just put a mask when you're in public.
It's going to be we have
it'll
to have rolling blackouts.
That have to right. As far as inconveniences,
right?
If convenient, wait until as France discussed, in a few European countries, the rivers dry up.
Oh God, I saw that recently.
And so on and so on. There are greater inconveniences coming, as well as you think that's an inconvenience. Then wait till I tell you about food deserts and inequalities and injustices in our society. Where if you're poor, every waking moment is an inconvenience.
Absolutely.
And they are the ones who got the vaccine and didn't have to be mandated or even asked twice. They got it the most.
Right.
Because they were also dying.
They understood.
And I guess
and
I guess New Agers think that that just proves how dangerous the vaccine is. Because they got they got the vaccine last. That's why they died. Because they weren't allowed to stay home.
Right.
Is the problem.
They were those
mandate.
Essential
the mandate
workers.
was that the economy actually wasn't allowed to shut down. China their economy and keep their numbers of death down, and have an actual month off and actually enjoy it for the most part. But that's why I'm like, why? Yeah, and I was just confused by people who saw being forced to stay home as an inconvenience or not work.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
Addicted to.
Yeah, that's the.
Or rather, no, they were addicted to. Well, actually, no. When it came to the middle class people, other people's work. The businesses that they couldn't go, get a haircut.
Right.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Well,
you mean not getting a haircut is inconvenient, and this is the freedom that you. So why my grandfather died for this country?
Died fighting the Nazis.
So
I get a haircut.
Whenever I wanted. Fuck for that for even a month.
Nope. No.
So any leftist
I know.
that repeats
biggest babies
in a line, and I don't have time. As Ghazi would, no way, Jose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, that's why their calls of the left being snowflakes. It's such a absolute projection. They're the biggest babies on earth.
Atlanta, it's the Wild Wild West. And let me tell you something. The more guns, right, an everyday citizen has, the less violence. I learned that when I moved to Texas. Okay? So just so you know, gun control doesn't mean less violence.
No.
Gun control actually means more violence towards victims because you don't have I go to Chicago, you can't even get bear mace or mace, period, in Chicago. You can't get bear mace anywhere. You can't get mace in Chicago. If you gave the everyday citizen the ability to arm themselves in Chicago, child.
By the way,
anyways, that's what I wanted to say.
Ghazi, what did they arrest you for? I'm really curious.
Yeah, because everything that I saw,
and you can watch the obstruction of justice. What else was it? Obstruction of justice and disorderly conduct. But let me tell you another thing. The Let's Go Brandon police, because two white policemen, I said policemen, they arrested us. No, policemen. And I was like, let me see if these my guys. Because I've been connecting with the right wing for a while. And I said some code words. Like, let's go, Brandon. And they said, all right. And I started telling them, like, this is what we about. And I said, do you know that another church does the same exact thing every Sunday, but pushes the vaccine? And they don't get arrested.
What is he talking?
But we're getting arrested because we are talking about the mandate, and we are telling poor black and brown people not to vote Democrat.
He didn't say arrested for it. He only said who he was charged with, which, by the way, very broad. You could be pissing in the street and be charged with that.
Justice.
You could be pissing in the street. You could have been breaking something. You could have been arguing with a cop. Basically, it's so many, what I did, part of the plantation.
Right.
It's all conspiracy-minded stuff, you know. It's like
absolutely, and this crowd eats it up.
It's not me who's a problem. I can't be the asshole. So everyone must be in cahoots. You know, there's like everyone's on their own team on the team.
Mm-hmm. I've been noticing in the comments.
All crazy narcissists think this way. It seems.
Oh, absolutely. I just want to bring up too the comments that I've seen scrolling by. It seems like the vast majority of the audience here absolutely hates Ghazi, making, you know, racially charged jokes about him. This guy here, wait, oh, Ghazi's gay? Oh, he's going to convert to heterosexuality like Milo and stuff. They do not.
Oh,
like
yeah,
this guy.
the comment got on Gavin's show, yeah.
Yeah, on Gavin's show.
Oh,
yeah, not here.
He's doing the dance, and there's no, well, because the left is,
and they still hate him.
Well, we rightfully kicked him out of the left, basically. The most crazy, you know, the Uhuru movement kicked him out. That's why he was a chapter head. He split off this and said, like, my chapter is going to be the Black Hammer, and we're going to start our own city, which, you know, was a fun idea to do Eco Village. They raised a good amount of money, but, you know, he got the attention. I just recommend for all the back. I'm not going to spend time repeating it, but the episode with True Anon on the Chopper Trap House.
I bet that's a good one. So. I remember seeing a time-lapse video of them trying to build like the first structure of their compound, and they literally spent 3-4 hours leveling a single board. Like, none of them knew what was going on, and they put this out there as like, you know, look guys, we're actually building something with your money. It's like, oh my god.
I mean, just putting a board on soil. What were they doing?
They had like 2 posts. They were set on the ground, and I don't even know, and they put a board between it. I'm guessing it's some beginning of the floor joist or something, but it took them hours to level this thing.
That's not a good.
Stand back.
That's not a good foundation.
They stand back.
But yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah.
Lots of jokes being made about that, but mostly like if you just don't know anything about construction.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that's all they were doing because they didn't own the land, so they really couldn't build anything.
Yeah. There's that too.
Probably knew like this wasn't going to be permanent, or we were going to get driven off by the sheriff, or getting a visit from the sheriff. But yeah, I actually read a good concept from a solar punk guy, or in a solar punk space. An actual itinerary for building an eco village from scratch. And it's like, first you build your workshop shed. So this will be the place that you store your materials, your construction work, your cuttings and stuff. So you build that first, your workshop, which is also a permanent space for later, you know, to have a workshop. So you build a workshop. From there, you build like the next energy shed or energy source, and then the next piece and the next piece.
That makes sense.
There are plenty of YouTube videos where people have been documenting, blogging their construction of their middle of the woods house.
Right.
And I'm not primitive tech. I mean, like with today's tech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much information out there for free. It just makes it even that much worse. They couldn't get it together. But anyway, we should move on.
Buy a bunch of used buses and convert those and just kind
there
of
you
put
go.
them in a
Yeah.
circle, and boom, you got your eco village.
There you go. Put up some yurts. I mean, that's
Furry housing, especially, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they
obstruction is one of the bullshit charges that they hit you with when they just want to hit you with anything they can. That's every time I hear about an obstruction charge, it's always bullshit.
Yeah. And I was reading my Bible. I was reading the Bible. And, you know, I'm new to the Bible. But, you know, this is where the Lord has taken me. This is where it is. This is where it is. This is where it is. I don't know. I'm just as shocked as you. But, you know, and the first day I read the Bible, that's when they attacked. I was reading, you know, other what they would call leftist propaganda beforehand. They didn't say do nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was reading real stuff. I was reading War of the Flea, which is literally laying out how to do guerrilla warfare. They did not stop me. They stopped me when I read the Bible.
Right. That's why they targeted you, because you read the Bible.
That's how I know the answer.
Because no one else reads
But
the
anyway,
Bible these days.
Guys,
The
what
ones
happened with the Arizona thing? You guys got a bunch of land, and then
bullshit. If this isn't completely bullshit, then it's just a confirmation bias of like, oh, I changed what I was doing, and then I got arrested, or you know,
it must be that one thing that I
it
changed.
must have been the one thing. But
crazy shit I did
that's
before.
if you believe him, which I do not.
Well, I don't believe him either. He's clearly just pandering.
He's playing up an act, to pandle these freaks. It's just funny what he's definitely taking up the challenge of when, you know, a BridTuber sort says like, look, I mean, it would be so easy to do a right wing grift and just go like, I left the left and I'm and I'm going to do the circuits and get attention, and that's exactly what Ghazi's doing. And you can see how pathetic and how it's really not going anywhere. I only did this because of a secondhand right. And no one actually wants to see Ghazi because of what a terrible person he is.
And
Colorado, let me tell you again, Colorado, the liberals. We got our own land, piece of land. I'm so glad I'm going.
Did you buy it?
I heard you guys were squatting, Ghazi.
Let me tell you, we put down payment on it. We put $37,000 or $34,000 on it. The down payment. We had it. But you have to wait a certain time for everything to be done, like a certain time period. You have to wait for everything to be done. I was being told that the time period was done because Fox News wanted to do an article on it, and I would not have agreed for them to do the article unless I knew that we had the land. But also, I knew something. We lived on top of the mountain. We got the top of the mountain. All on that mountain was rich elitists that don't even live there. But when we went to the bottom of the mountain, guess who we saw? Right-winger, Trumpers, the working boys, the people that are in the farms.
Notice how, like, he's asked about whether he actually owned the land. He half gives an explanation about the waiting period and having the down payment. And then completely just pivots
wild tangent
immediately to, but let me tell you about the people on the mountain of the land that we didn't buy, and how there was a class gyration, and obviously the poor people, well, I don't know if anyone living out there would be poor, but the rural area people, they're Trumpers, and so like we were around them more than the lefties in the cities. So we saw their truth.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to point out that pivot. It's such a jarring pivot. And he does it every time they ask him something. So even
it's wild
even
tangents.
with freaks, he can't give a straight answer.
No,
not possible.
Just notice one of the donations at the bottom of Gavin's screen there from Jeffrey Epstein for $14.88. In case anyone was wondering where Gavin's coming from.
There's the other one, standing while pooping.
Gross. What
was the next one? Praxis.
When we went there, we went to the bar and went to the church.
Praxis seizure.
We saw them having fellowship with
$2.
The Mexicans. We saw them having fellowship with black people.
Why didn't you just give
$5? They said, you know what?
It's like seeing their names scroll through, I guess.
Do what you want on it. We love that kind of freedom.
Yeah.
It was the liberals of the liberals elite and they told us that the people on the bottom of the mountain, right? Like, look at the analogies. Look at the analogies. The working white folks, the real white folks, the white folks that do work, that put food on the tables around America,
farmers?
And they work alongside the Mexicans and black people. We working together.
It's on a mountain.
And when they saw we got our own piece of land, they were not trying to evict us. They were trying to do business with us. The farmers wanted to do business with us. The workers wanted to do business with us.
These commodity farmers were trying to do business with you by putting their grain into the global market. Yeah, okay, Ghazi.
The way he's saying business, it reminds me of a musical soundtrack I have where it's a murder mystery involving a play, and one of the suspects, and I think she's actually the culprit, is the producer of the play, who's this kind of big Jewish woman. And but basically a big, kind of big burly woman.
Mhm.
He's like, and her daughter is one of the performers, and she actually wants her daughter to like be a star and support her, but she acts aloof, and one of her songs is like, "I'm here to do business. Am I getting through to you?" It's like, and they're kind of having a musical argument where it's like, the daughter says like, "But the sacred place, Mom," and it's like, "What? So it should only be filled on Shabbos?" And so it's filled with jokes like that, and and then it's like, from the stagehands to the lighters, they all need to be paid, and this is a business. I do business. And so it's the same candor as Ghazi, who's obviously performance and
he's got the theatricality down. Yeah, that's for sure.
Business.
They were doing business.
She does business. Another joke is like her daughter's name is Elaine, but she changed it to Bambi. So they're always like going back and forth about like Bambi. Elaine, like Elaine. I put it on the Iceman coming. Nobody cameth.
That's great. That's great. I'm thinking maybe we should skip ahead here to the big reveal part.
Go to 24.
24.
Yeah, 24. Because obviously it just goes on like this. Nothing too great.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a lot more pandering, a lot more bravado, and wild tangents. Yeah.
Magazine, he was supposed to be the next person running up, and let me tell you, Donald Trump is a chess player, not a checker.
Trigger warning. Trigger warning in case you're grossed out. That's all I'm going to say.
Trump, if you're listening, I also worked for Donald Trump. Very, very clear. And I will tell y'all this too. So y'all can check my record. This ain't new. This ain't new. It's just new circumstances, which mean we got to unite faster. So anyways, I worked for Donald Trump, but I always said that one thing I know is he's a good
You worked for
boss.
Donald
He's a good
Trump.
boss man. I got paid more than anything before, and I was a junior college dropout, giving me an opportunity in that business.
What business? In what capacity did you work for Trump?
I was working as an attaché at the spa. Trump knows where to put the homosexuals. So I was at the spa, and I was the attaché, and I would handle, VIP guests and stuff like that, the front desk, clickety clacking, acting like I'm working, but I'm just, keeping up on Britney Spears. It was dark days back in those days. So I'm just keeping up on Britney Spears and then helping people when they come in. But
So
no,
it wasn't
it was,
actually
what's her name? It was
What kind of story?
What did he do?
Story is this, right?
What did he do? What is
story?
this?
Yeah, what kind of story is this, right? He starts
I
with,
have no
this is all
idea.
ingratiate himself by saying he worked for Donald Trump boss. So now he's asked to do.
Well,
And
yeah, what did you
basically
do? The
probably on
simplest of questions.
Spot. He's probably making this all up. To the spa.
Worked at the spa.
Or a spa.
As
But
an
is the
attaché.
spa owned by Trump? Like how you work?
Was he attending the Trump? The
And
spa?
then he's
Yeah,
joking
what the
about
hell?
how he didn't actually do any work there. So
yeah,
and if he was an attaché, then he's not the desk clerk. He's just the desk clerk. But anyway,
he's got the bravado, but he just does not think on his feet. He cannot fill in those lines.
Oh, he is. I mean,
quick enough.
If you're an idiot, this I don't know. But obviously
I don't know.
the three here obviously aren't really buying what he's selling. They're laughing at him or whatever.
Yeah, all that
They're just puzzled. Like they are asking him the basic question to elaborate what the hell he's talking about.
The basicest of questions. Yes. Oh, the orange.
Not a
pill.
gotcha.
That's funny.
Ivanka Trump's her first business thing right out of college. So he gave her over the spas and stuff. And let me tell you, that woman,
So
she
is
came to
Ivanka.
Chicago and she was training with us, like side by side, and she works hard. That's why he loved his daughter so much. That's a hard working woman. Let me tell you, she run for president. Woo! Child. Oh, we're going to Jupiter. Well, the moon's of Jupiter. Jupiter's a gas. Anyways, but she a hard worker. And to give me, for that opportunity to be available for me in a time where the economy was bad and I didn't have the highest education, I knew one thing, that hard work gets respected at Trump. It don't matter your elite degrees and stuff like that. If you worked hard there, you were gonna get places.
Well, isn't that intrinsically the American way? If you bust your ass, then that's all we care about. We don't care if, unfortunately, we don't care if you're illegal, but we don't care if you're an immigrant, what race you are,
Yeah, you just
what
have to
your
make
sexual
money for
preferences.
profit.
When Americans see someone
other people.
busting their ass, wiping sweat off their brow, they don't care if they're running a 500-person corporation or sweeping a bodega. When they see that, they go, "That's what I like. Keep doing that. You're my kind of guy." That's what it means when they say "Make America Great Again." They mean make America bust their ass again.
Because Gavin McInnes has ever busted his ass a day in his life.
Let's see. Uranus
These
is
guys,
the gay planet.
They're all such. Oh God.
Surely.
Yes.
Uranus is the gay
It's the gay
planet.
planet, sure.
Not the liberal Americans. They're lazy as hell. This is something out of the Beverly Hills. What?
I don't. No, not getting that reference. Okay.
Theory. In theory, it's supposed to be like that, but not many have hold that a testament until Trump. In theory, yes, in theory, but no, these Democrats don't want you to work hard. They don't. They want you. What they want you to do. What these liberals want you to do. Safe space. And what they call empty thoughts. No thoughts. You know, I'm peace. Self care.
Be mindful.
You're doing so much self care, but you're not doing no. Why? We just need to. And I'm not saying down with meditation or taking some time, but you do that
But that's
so
what
that
you're
you
driving.
can accomplish your assignment.
You're banging on. You're ragging on meditation.
Fuck self-care. Fuck self-care.
Meditation.
Also, meditation is cool.
You're being a sheep, but I'm not putting it down.
Don't empty your thoughts, but also meditation. That'll do good for you if your mind's racing.
I don't know why you would feel the need to do a reversal, because I'm not sure any of the Proud Boys care about meditation.
None of these guys have ever done meditation. None of the people on this panel.
why
I don't
would
think
he
anyone in the
just
audience has.
brag on
I
it
don't know. Yeah, really. It seems like a
Weird.
pretty easy get for a joke.
Weird.
On this earth and work hard. Like the first person that taught me how to meditate, I learned how to meditate at, again, the Trump International at the spot, at that hotel. They said, when you come in, take some time to woo-saw. They taught us how to meditate, just
So
to
now the spot is
relax
part
and
of
get
the
ready for work. When I tell you it was the best job I had, the food was free, it was good, and it wasn't no slop that he was giving us. We got the same food the rich people was getting. You hear me? I learned all kinds of etouffees and all kinds of creme brulee.
Although Trump notoriously hates good
Now
food
he's just
and
naming
loves garbage, so
fancy
who knows,
dishes.
maybe.
Now he's just naming
Yeah.
fancy dishes. Etouffees and creme brulees.
Yeah, etouffees and creme all together, just one big bowl. We called it the Trump
Sometimes
special.
at the same time.
That's right.
And stuff there working. You hear me?
I think that's why the elites hate him, is that he let everyone in. He was Rodney Dangerfield in
God.
Caddyshack.
Yeah, sure, man of the
He didn't
people.
care if you were rich or poor. And
Right.
the old school WASPs
was a
hated that because they had built this pedigree over time at the various country clubs. The old school rich Jews hated that because they had their pedigree at their country clubs. And his thing was like, if you can afford to come in here, come on in. I don't care where you're from. This isn't that kind of club. And then the staff were fraternizing with everyone there. And the elite said, what are you doing? Don't you understand the class system in America? And he's like, no, I grew up in Queens. Go fuck yourself.
Period. And, I'm not going to get hooked on what he said or didn't say, because a lot of what we hear that he said, the way that this media has targeted him and just slandered him, I don't like, at the end of the day, how's he doing his job? I'll go F what he say. F what he said. What is his job doing?
Okay.
And if
That might
my
explain
people,
something.
black and brown people, sat down real quick, objectively, and laid out what positives were done for our community. Now, listen, you know me, I'm a revolutionary. I say burn it all, let's start all over. But anyways, if you are for America, if you are for, this nation and things like that, right? And if you are for getting security and
What is
comfort and
this
things like that.
background video?
He did things.
They have a
just
background video, but
the weirdest. Yeah.
underneath their panels.
Right. It's some
so
of it's like,
distracting. Just
man
family
show
B-roll?
type stuff.
It's family
No,
B-roll.
it's some of it's like women in scantily clad jumping up and down. Some of it's
Really?
like cheerleaders. Some of
didn't-
it's like
oh my
MMA fighters.
I didn't notice.
It's
I just noticed I saw
it's
family or something, like a kid
gross.
was being thrown up. Or...
Yeah, so I guess it's all the things that they claim to believe in.
Okay, so I noticed Gavin was soda. That'll come to play.
Okay.
Historically, that was never ever done before by a president for Black and brown people. And instead of the media talking about that, they just hyper focused on the things he said. And I want to say this too about Fox. Fox did too much of defending and going back and forth about what Trump was saying. Fox should have ignored that nonsense and just focused on, we're going to report on what he's doing, what he's doing, what he's doing, what he's doing. For the first time, historically Black colleges do not have to, historically Black colleges had to go to DC every year to beg for money.
Can I say my...
Trump said, you know what? You don't have to beg no more. Here's the money. I'm going to make it higher than you've ever asked for. Do your thing. They talk about, oh, the HBCUs are selling out. So that's selling out, but kissing Obama's derriere and not getting nothing, that's not selling out? Please.
Yeah, you make good points.
Please. We didn't do, we were
Did he make
people,
points?
economically we was better. Okay? A lot of things, we was better.
Well, he's repeating a talking
doing
point that
better
Black people did better from the administration.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all. I mean, I say more, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. And look where you know what? F that. Where you at now, baby? It hasn't even been a year. It's been Dementia hasn't been Kamala Harris, Mala Harris, whatever. Camel Harris. What have they done? And we know it. Look at their approval rates and tell me how somebody with the historically most low approval rates won.
I've got a virus.
Oh my God!
Lay him out!
Is that Kamala coming out your ass?
He still
Kamala,
made a joke.
that's you.
Oh man.
Wait, what just...
Ghazi, I wanted to ask you something else here. We're not going to go too much longer here. I'm having so much fun, but I have to wrap it up because my wife is waiting for me to go eat supper. But
right.
So you said you met the people in Colorado and the Trumpers like handing out the homeless stuff. And
look how far back the camera is now.
Did you think that right wingers were racist when
staring at
you were
it.
younger? Just because you've been told that?
Whatever the term racist is, whatever that means, I don't know what that means.
And they don't acknowledge all now.
I know somebody I can work with, and I know somebody I can't
Consummate
work with.
professionals.
It's not about we can agree on everything, okay? Let me tell you, I can listen. I'm from the South, and I've had white, conservative friends, and we go over their house, and their grandmama say, tell the nigga over there. Can I say it? Tell the N-word over there. We need them. We need them catfish clean. Grandma having a flashback. That's all. Why grandma having a flashback? And I was like, girl, shut up, you honky. And the whole family laughed, and we continue to eat and have fun while I play video games, and we shoot cans afterwards. Okay. So, anyways, and a liberal will call that racist. We'll call them racist for that. We need to have some group therapy and some Kindles and some circle jerk and race theory science and all I needed, baby, was the food and to play the video game. And we whatever. Like,
he's trying to say critical.
Was in the Fifth Element, wasn't he?
I think you should... What? Oh no!
He's
compare him to Ruby Rod, okay? I mean, there is a similar energy, but
no, couldn't compete. No, that's for sure.
That was a great character. All right.
Jesus. I think we got to leave it there, though. Like, wow. What? What did I just watch?
I told you there was a surprise. So that happened.
That happened, yeah.
It wasn't mentioned by the TrueAnon guy, so when I did listen to this, it was a complete surprise. Like, what the hell? I was listening to it, so I'm like, I only heard the virus and the douche, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Acknowledging what that sound was.
Yeah.
Except Anna,
no,
guy who kind of says, "Are you all right?" or what was that? And now watching it over again, that like there is in the 5 minutes before, Gavin looks a little more uncomfortable as each moment passes. Like he's starting to understand that he's about to throw up, and because you could feel it, but he didn't have anything prepared to catch any vomit. But I
No,
noticed this
you don't-
time around that he was drinking a soda. Which, if you're fighting a virus,
he's priming the
you have
pump, yeah.
nausea. Why the fuck would you drink a soda? But of course, if it's all you drink and you can't drink anything else because of
Yeah.
addiction or whatever,
Mhm.
then that's kind of why people throw up more than maybe people otherwise would, or get sicker.
Yeah, that could be.
Because, well, they drink shit.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
So we started late.
That was a way to
but,
cap off the
yeah.
comedy thing. Yeah.
Play them on. Play them out, Sam.
Right.
All the while, like, you know, Ghazi's like, "Cop Mala," hey, like he's trying to make the usual trumper jokes and affectations, and he can barely get them out because he's just going so fast but saying so little.
Right.
Right. Like, he's trying to get it all out within of all the different things so that the audience hears him saying it, because I guess then they'll like him. And the more they like him,
they're just waiting for that.
I want to hear more of this guy, even though he's saying the same thing that Kevin probably saying every time. Which I guess, you know, there's 4 streamers I basically listen to at work, but never in a row, especially when it's the same topic. But they are generally all say the same thing, which is why I look for other things to listen to, like lectures by our intellectuals and Marxists talking mix. The one YouTube channel, it doesn't have a lot of videos, but it's lectures and interviews. Institute for Post-Capitalist Civilization is, they use the words in. And I was listening to this guy, great name, John Cockshot. And he's one of those.
Yes.
Okay, I hadn't heard of him till now, but I probably had heard of his, which is simply Paracom.
One of those names you don't forget, yeah.
Cockshock. And it's like Towards a New Socialism. It's one of the several books written right after the Soviet Union collapsed or was taken over, and of leftists or Marxists in the, you know, Anglophiles who want an alternative. So they're writing about what they think could be next, and it's mostly, you know, democratic planning. Still, like, not a market socialism, but a planned socialism that's democratically planned. And his is more computers to make the economic calculations and stuff and do the planning. Paracom is more, still uses computer out. They have a lot in common. But Cockshot was more like, he explained his processes like, look, we're just going to take what Marx wrote and take him as literally as possible and go from there. So it's just an orthodox Marxist in every sense. So we kind of take the Critique of Opera program, which to read together, I think. The labor concept of just like, you are moneyless. You're just issued labor vouchers based on your labor, or you're given vouchers if you can't work. Basic amount, and with the labor vouchers, you can, you know, get all your needs met and more, or everything needs, and so on. But my general comment about him is that he's one of those old leftist academic types that I think they're cool, and it's how I want to grow in age, because they can talk about things that are happening now or recent developments, and be asked about things like digital currencies, talk about with the same understanding, both proficiency and whatever smartness as whatever they were talking about in the 70s or whatever work they were doing in the 80s. They have kept up their career. They haven't stopped. They don't take a vacation, or rather they haven't lapsed in, you know, how they think. And so they have been open-minded their whole life, and it shows. It shows in that they don't say something that, like, I heard from someone in the 80s or a clip. they add new things, or they change or reformulate what they talk about, every decade.
Right.
So it goes against the whole, like, the older you get, the more the same.
More conservative, yeah.
More conservative, but like you just get stuck in a rut and you stop
Stuck in your
growing.
ways, yeah. Sure.
And you don't grow as a person. But the fact that he can talk about computing because he's a computer guy, or a computer scientist, basic guy, that he when asked technical questions, he answers them really well, and he doesn't have to hand wave about, like, oh, I don't know anything about that, or I haven't come up with that. No, he has, and that's impressive, and I admire.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is
That's
how I feel
definitely
about
kind of old leftist I would like to be as well.
That's how I feel about Howie. So he was kind of first, like, party activist
Good
who
example.
has that energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unlike, well, let's say unlike Bernie, who was a ever since, so he's really been stuck in that world and not in the world of being on the outside. So it's almost like you should take a break and then run for office again for something else. It's kind of like John Quincy Adams. He was president, and then he ran and stayed in Congress the rest of his life. Kind of go a downgrade and be even more effective. Or, well, in John Quincy Adams' case, he was less effective, but actually, no, his presidency wasn't effective either. So, I'm sorry of his life. But whatever. But I feel like if you went low again, like, you take all the experience of being higher up in government, and you'd be even more effective, and you'd be even more of a powerhouse of, like, you'd get everything you want
I can
done.
definitely see that.
Because you go from the center of Vermont to
Same
back
things
to
from the other side.
the county of Vermont. You could make it completely democratic socialist agenda
Absolutely.
done based on your clout. Like, if you went back to being mayor of Burlington.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I don't know.
Things you would know now.
But I guess the point is, like, he would be, no matter where he is, he's constrained by capitalism. So,
True enough.
In our politics, our liberal system. So,
yeah.
And that goes for everybody. So, let's take it up. It's not just about Bernie. Okay.
But he could still be more effective. So point taken, for sure.
All right. We both have
all right.
Tomorrow, so.
We do. But I thank you very much for bringing those videos. That was a good time. I enjoyed.
We'll talk about what I should
brought
bring
tonight.
next time, unless we start a new. I would think we should start a new reading series.
Okay.
I actually have a stern suggestion about going with books like Towards New Socialism, Paracom, and stuff like that. And maybe we start with Critique of a Government Program, get some marks on.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely one that I've had on my list.
Because I'm curious about that work, because it's the only kind of Marx work where he actually lays out he talks about political strategy, which doesn't,
rather than just critique capitalism.
It doesn't get its due. So when it means, like, what does it mean to be politically be a Marxist or orthodox Marxist? What does that mean? So it's like, let's go.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, we'll lay that down.
All right. Anything you want to shout out or mention before we wrap it up then?
Yeah, I recorded a show which I just posted on my website, 3lefts.news. I cover local stories, but they have the same effect of my usual programming, where basically what happens, in my city happens anywhere else, but I also talk about it in terms like the 2 stories I'd make. That's one of my that's my glamour shots when I ran for county exec.
It's a snappy photo.
Yeah, but it was a very sunny day, and I was without a hat, so you can see how squinty.
Yeah, a little squinty. I don't think it's too bad.
Real squinty. Anyway. And taking in the shade was, no non-starter. So, anyway, 2 examples of property being transferred into community ownership of some kind. One is a former mixed building, which it was somehow in the hands of the housing authority in Albany, and they were selling it to the African American Cultural Center, who wants to start a grocery store in that neighborhood, which is a food desert. So it's very much needed. And that's an old episode.
Yeah, I don't know why that's coming up first.
But right down there, episode A2. So I'm numbering them. I switched to a numbering system.
Yes.
A and the number. So A1, A2. An episode of What's Left in All. And but the other one is a down the block commercial building, and it's. Well, let me finish. So it's being transferred to the American Cultural Center. So they will own it, but they won't be operating the grocery store. They're looking later. But it was sold. They were able to buy it with this conglomeration of grants and gifts and whatever, and from all these different banks, credit unions, the county, and sponsors. It's a lot of money all from these different places, and it looks really like hard, and like that's a lot of like it's almost grifting about it. But on the converse, you have loan fund outright, because they have the money, I guess, to outright buy or make an offer for this commercial building and put it in a investment trust. And this is a kind of thing that's sort of similar. It's very similar, actually, to the permanent real estate, where you have neighborhood investment. Neighbors invest $10 to $100 a month, and they eventually this pool of neighbors the ownership of the building transfers from the loan fund to the trust, and the trust has literally a community land, not a community land trust, but it is a investment trust. A land trust buys and sells property, but the investment trust collects investment like a prize, but is a community owned and operated one. So I kind of like that concept a lot. And to see that a building I once rented from as an Occupy. And so I talk about that. So I talk about two, because the buildings are literally the same price, and the fact that the city entity, the housing authority, kind of had to sell it for a $850,000, and I'm like, why didn't they sell it for? They give it to them for $1. I mean, the city sold the Palace, which is a big Art Deco 1930s theater. They sold that to an entity for $1. Why to the community organization for $1? Yeah. No, I just thought of the Palace as like the example of like, yeah, they should just give it to them. But also, I mean, they sold it for $1 because the Palace had a lot of work that needed to be done, structural damage, and the city only saw it as a liability, not as a public asset, which made me like angry with them, like the council, because it's like we'd have so few public assets, and this is one that the city actually has. Like, we could have really cheap, entertainment, big, stuff, but keep the rates for the events low. But it's always been like the city owns, but they have someone else operating it, so it's always like a third-party private enterprise. They're just giving it to them. Just didn't like that they were doing it for $1, as well as rather see more things that are assets, not less. So to see this attitude, like, oh, if there's a risk of any kind, we don't want it.
Yeah.
And I really hate that, because it just shows just how lib all these Dems are. The makeup of the council has changed a lot since then, but there is a general like they're in line up the back or something. But again, it's if anything, it's gotten worse because it hasn't this is a prime opportunity to just sell it, But us anyway, for a public good, and or better yet, since it is by the Albany Housing Authority, why doesn't the authority just hire an operator, and have a public grocery store?
Yeah, why not?
Can't do that. Can't go. No. Never hear a good reason except that they give a business insurance well, out liability, we don't, because businesses could fail or something. Even though it's not going to fail, it's in a food grocery store. But
yeah.
Anyway, enough of that kind of ranting. That's what I do. It's an hour long now, so it's much shorter and digestible.
That sounds really cool all around. I'm definitely going to check it out this week.
So. And this week,
awesome.
I will have my first a comrade of mine, the director of Albany Tenants United, which was for the most part of my lifetime did tenant eviction defense and other advocacy for renters. But with Canyon, who is they are now going into tenantizing work, which is
cool,
exciting. So I'm gonna have him on.
That is exciting.
Give him a general
cool
interview treatment. Do whatever, talk about whatever.
That sounds really great. Looking forward to that one too. All right. Well, thanks again for joining tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time.
See ya. Love you.
All right, that was Dan Plaat of the Three Left Show. Go check out his podcast, 3lefts.news, has all the archives there, as well as the newer episodes. And yeah, fun time. All right, gonna wrap it up for tonight because we're way past bedtime. But I will talk to you all tomorrow night when we'll be continuing on with our coverage chapter by chapter of A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. We're on to chapter 5, I do believe. Let me just double check to make sure. I think it's going to be chapter 5, part 2. Let's see, it's been so long. Oh, it's chapter 6, part 2. We'll be on to. So we were looking at some of the contributions of women and Native peoples to early America. So we'll continue on with that, going through the audiobook. And yeah, thanks for coming in, James. Always a pleasure to have you here. And yeah, if you ever do miss an episode, James, you know that you can always go to the YouTube channel. Why don't I link that? Because I don't link that very often. Where is the share? I guess I'll just have to put the archives up like so. YouTube has not figured out how to make graceful sharing links for a channel. Or if they have, I haven't figured out how to structure it in such a way so it comes out nice. So Bread Theory on YouTube. You can check out all the archives there. Every show that I have done is up. And yeah. Oh, and then also we're having our second monthly leftist karaoke night, the fourth Friday of the month. That's when we're going to be having this as a regular thing. It was a lot of fun last time. A lot of people showed up and sang songs, and it was a good time to get together with fellow leftist friends. You don't have to sing political things. You can sing whatever sort of song you like, or you can just cheer in the audience. That's always appreciated too. But I did Stairway last time, James. Did you not see that? Because I do actually have a video up now of it. In case you missed it, I did Stairway. Or are you suggesting this needs to be a monthly thing that someone's got to do Stairway? Because I did my part this time, so it's up to someone else if you want to. Oh God, that's gonna be our free bird, isn't it? James is gonna come up, Do stairway! Do stairway! That and pizza rolls. Getting quite the presence here in the chat, James. I love it, though. All right, see you all next time, tomorrow night, around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, continuing with People's History of the United States. Have a